Chapter 5561. Those ancient families and monarch families were very worried. They didn't have any clues at all. At this moment, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. "Don't worry, everyone. I've found it. Is that true?" Lin Gongzi. The surrounding experts were also delighted when they heard this. At the same time, they were also surprised. It was too unbelievable. They had so many great emperor families and ancient families, but they didn't have any clues. However, Lin Xian had them. As far as they knew, Lin Xian should have been cultivating in seclusion before. He had just come out and found an important clue. His strength was really unfathomable. The Yi family's patriarch said. What kind of clue was Lin Gongzi? The people of the Phoenix clan were also looking forward to it. Lin Xian told them some of the information he had obtained. After the others heard this, they sucked in a breath of cold air. "What? You're saying it's actually the ancient land of Taichu? Heavens, that's also a forbidden land, right?" "Yes, and it's not on burial earth, but in the true spirit world. They didn't expect another forbidden land to appear, and it actually condensed into the Jade and Jade person." The Kuan-Peng clan's patriarch frowned. The ancient land of Taichu was not ordinary. There were many strange stones inside. Perhaps they contained some terrifying existence. Indeed, some precious strange stones could be cut into mysterious things. And the best strange stones were in the ancient land of Taichu. Lin Xian had also seen some scenes through the soul searching, apart from the sky spirit jade. He did see a few strange stones that were abnormally ancient. He said, "That's why I'm looking for everyone. Since everyone is attacked by the Jade and Jade person, we should join forces. Let's go to the ancient land of Taichu together." At least they had to hand over the antidote. Yes, that's right. Those families and sects also nodded. This time, they were already in such a sorry state. If they didn't take it, the Jade and Jade person would attack again. Then their losses would be even heavier. And this time, with Lin Xian leading, they were even more relieved. After all, Lin Xian had once challenged 2 forbidden lands. He was still alive and well. With this kind of strength, they were relieved. Therefore, they said, "Lin Gongzi, we support you. You tell me what to do." "That's right, Lin Gongzi. How should we proceed? You tell us." The people here were all old monsters who had lived for countless years, but they still had to respect Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "Everyone, get ready. In 3 days, we will leave for the true spirit world." True spirit world. Their strength was also gradually recovering. Saints and martial artists could be seen everywhere. There were even some ancient existences that appeared. For example, some immortal foundations of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. Moreover, his sacred grounds had become much stronger than before. Among them, the divine palace had become even more powerful. There were also many experts inside. When they learned that Lin Xian was going there, they were extremely excited. The sacred hall was also considered a member of the divine union. However, because of the quintessential world, Lin Xian did not allow the Sacred Hall's experts to go to the Burial Earth Star. After all, the true spirit world was the origin star, a mysterious existence. Therefore, if they stayed there, they would have an unexpected effect at a critical moment. Peacock and Xingtian led a group of experts from the Sacred Hall and gathered outside the land of absolute beginning. On the other side, the ancient families of the Burial Earth Star were also moving. They met up with Lin Xian, and the group headed to the quintessential world. These people were very fast because the Yi family and the Gu family originally had a foundation in the quintessential world. At the moment, there were still many people guarding the quintessential world. Therefore, they all used the transportation array. They were very fast. Soon, they appeared in the quintessential world. Obviously, besides Lin Xian, these great emperor families were not willing to give up on the quintessential world. One could imagine how important the quintessential world was. Let's go to the land of absolute beginning. In the central region of the land of absolute beginning, a group of people rose into the air and flew quickly. Finally, they arrived. There were many people in front of them. The Kun Pung race frowned, and the Chilan race exclaimed. They felt that there were many experts. Could it be that the land of absolute beginning had come to intercept them? Lin Xian's eyes shone with the light of reincarnation. He looked forward, and then the corners of his mouth raised into a smile. He said that there was no need to worry. They were not from the land of absolute beginning. While the others were still puzzled, the experts in front flew over. These experts were very tall. Each of them was like a demon god. They had powerful strength. After arriving, the surrounding remote antiquity families felt a huge pressure. They were facing a great enemy. The people in front were led by two people, a tall man and a beautiful woman. After arriving, they bowed respectfully to Lin Xian, greeting the palace master. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were stunned. What palace master? They were actually Lin Xian's people. This scene was too shocking. Lin Wuyi also had such a powerful force in the quintessential world. The Yi family and the Gu family were also surprised. They should be from the divine palace. They did not expect that they had grown to such a terrifying realm. It seemed that the current quintessential world was not inferior to the burial Earth star at all. Lin Xian nodded and said, "Rise. How is it? How is the investigation?" Peacock walked over and took out a scroll. "The information we investigated is all here." After Lin Xian opened it, he read it with his soul. It was all about the land of absolute beginning. There had been a change in the land of absolute beginning recently. There would often be blood-red light shooting into the sky. However, it all happened at night. It was indeed very quiet during the day, and every time the blood-red light shot into the sky, it would only last for a short time. It seemed that the land of absolute beginning had indeed recovered. "Let's go." These people walked forward. The land of absolute beginning was very mysterious. The ground here was brown and had an ancient aura. The surrounding mountains had a desolate aura, making people feel as if they had entered the ancient era. Boom. When they approached, the surrounding mountains shook like seawater sweeping through the 9 heavens. Terrifying laws covered heaven and earth. The terrifying power caused the surrounding void to shatter. The surrounding people felt as if they were facing a great enemy. They felt as if 100,000 mountains were pressing down on them. The people of the land of absolute beginning had discovered them. What should they do? Should they attack? These people gritted their teeth. Terrifying laws also appeared on their bodies. However, Lin Xian walked out and shouted coldly, "Land of absolute beginning, it seems that you have indeed awakened. Then send someone out." Boom, boom, boom. As soon as he finished speaking, light flashed ahead. 3 figures appeared. These were 3 young people. After they came out, their expressions were arrogant as they raised their chins and shouted coldly, "Who are you? You dare to behave atrociously in the land of absolute beginning? Leave quickly. Otherwise, you will go to hell." As they spoke, these people also exuded an ancient primordial power. On the other side, the people from the monarch and remote antiquity families frowned. The land of absolute beginning was too arrogant. So many of them came together, but the other party sent 3 young people? Lin Xian snorted coldly. He slapped forward with his hand. Chapter 5562. You're courting death. How dare you attack us? The 3 young men were furious. Although the other party had thousands of soldiers and horses, so what? The ancient emperor of Taichu was high and mighty and looked down on everything. But now, someone actually dared to attack them. The 3 of them roared angrily as resplendent light erupted from their bodies. Power swept out like raging waves crashing against the shore. They could tell that the one who attacked was a young man. They didn't take such a person to heart. The two collided, and a monstrous power swept out like a thunderclap. Damn it, how could he be so powerful? However, the three young men's expressions became incomparably ugly, because the moment they collided with the other party, they felt their palms shatter. Then, that power tore their bodies into pieces. Their souls wanted to escape, but they were shattered by a slap. The three of them were terrified. They didn't expect the young man in front of them to be so terrifying, to be able to kill them in one move. With a scream, the three of them had their souls destroyed. Only a mist of blood drifted out. Were they dead? The eyelids of the clan of the ancients and the peerless sex behind them twitched. To be honest, although they could suppress the other party, they didn't dare to kill him. After all, this was the land of Tai Chu, and they were now in the other party's territory. If they really angered them, it would be extremely terrifying. After all, Mount Eternal and the desolate tomb had given them too much shock. Furthermore, they now knew that these forbidden lands of life all had mortal exalted existences. However, Lin Xian didn't seem to care at all, and easily killed the people of the land of Tai Chu. Lin Xian retracted his palm and looked forward. He said coldly, "I think you guys haven't figured out the situation yet. And you sent 3 ants here? What a joke. Why don't you film something more serious? Otherwise, we'll just walk in." A terrifying power rose from Lin Xian's body. It was as if he was a divine king that wanted to suppress the 9 heavens. The surrounding mountains shook violently once again. This time, it wasn't the power of the land of Tai Chu, but the power of Lin Xian's physique. Seeing that there was no sound from the other side, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He stomped his foot, and a huge crack tore the ground apart. It was like a dragon from hell spreading forward with its fangs and claws. The entire land was shattering. The surrounding people were shocked. No way. Was Lin Wudi really going to attack? The ancient land of Grand Primordium ahead shook. At this moment, a cold shout came from inside. As soon as this voice rang out, the surrounding heaven and earth quieted down, and the earth no longer shattered. The large crack stopped. Young people are too arrogant, daring to attack in our ancient land of absolute beginning? Who is your senior master? Get him to kneel on the ground and kowtow to apologize. Just you? Lin Xian sneered. It seemed that this ancient land of absolute beginning really didn't recognize him. He had probably just woken up and thought that he was a supreme existence. And you are not worthy of me taking action, but in order to punish you and to warn others, you can go to hell. A ray of light flew out from within. It was incomparably resplendent, and like a blazing sun, it shot towards Lin Xian. Boom! Lin Xian snorted coldly and punched out. The power of the divine body bloomed brilliantly, as if the god of the sun had descended, directly blowing away the dazzling light. At the same time, he let out a long howl and shot out a beam of sword chi towards the land of absolute primordium. With a loud bang, an earth-shattering explosion came from inside. There was also an exasperated roar. That voice was like the resurrection of an ancient, demonic beast. It was obvious that the person inside was shamelessly angry. And, "Do you want to die?" Lin Xian shouted coldly. "Do you have the ability to kill me? Come out, and I'll destroy you with one hand." Endless aura surged from inside as a middle-aged man walked out. His expression was somewhat ferocious. It was obvious that he was the one who had fought with Lin Xian previously, and he had suffered a loss. After coming out, his gaze was fixed on Lin Xian. Boom! A saber appeared in his hand. It seemed to be made of rock. This was not an ordinary rock. It should be a strange rock. It might even be a treasure cut out of the strange rock. The middle-aged man held the stone saber and slashed forward. This time, his strength was even stronger than before. It was obvious that it was just a casual attack before, but now he was really angry. Lin Xian laughed loudly. The flames that rose from his body turned into 9 suns that spun nonstop. At the same time, he took the initiative to attack. His palms turned into a demon god seal to resist the stone saber. Ignorant ant, you dare to take my saber with your bare hands? The middle-aged man opposite him sneered, and his voice shook the sky. The 2 sides collided, and the stone saber trembled. How was that possible? The middle-aged man was shocked. The origin of the stone saber was extraordinary. Just as he was surprised, Lin Xian shouted angrily again and threw a punch. With a clang, the saber shook. Then there were 2 more punches. The stone saber broke in the middle. The middle-aged man retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were about to pop out. Damn it, what kind of physique was that? How could this young man be so strange? Lin Xian had already arrived in front of him and stretched out a palm. The demonic aura on it was monstrous. The demon god palm. Damn it! The middle-aged man threw out both fists. His fists and arms were petrified. There were ancient runes on them that could break the sky. Boom! The demon god palm landed mercilessly, shattering his palm. The middle-aged man fell to the ground. He knelt on the ground and looked up at the sky. His entire being had gone mad. No, what kind of power was that? He wanted to resist, but he was slapped to the ground. Too weak. Lin Xian said coldly, I told you to send someone with power. Are the people in Taichu ancient land trash? A cold voice sounded. The middle-aged man wanted to die. He was actually slapped in the face by a young man, and he couldn't resist at all. Behind him, the emperor race people were also shocked. Lin Wudi's strength seemed to have increased again. His cultivation speed was way too fast. He was a monster. One had to know that geniuses cultivated very quickly, but at their level, they were already peak great saints. If they wanted to take another step forward, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. But Lin Xian seemed to be an exception. Lin Xian was stronger than the Holy Lord. He was the Triple Crown champion. Logically speaking, cultivating like this was very peaceful. Breaking through was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. But now Lin Xian's strength had become stronger than before. That was why they were so shocked. Lin Xian's voice sounded between heaven and earth, but there was still no response. Lin Xian couldn't laugh coldly, right? I'll send him to hell. I'll only give you 3 seconds. 3:21 time was up. Lin Xian's palm erupted with endless demonic light as he struck out again. Stop! An old voice sounded from inside. It seemed that Taichu ancient land was finally going to send out a powerhouse. However, it was already too late. Lin Xian's demonic light directly enveloped the middle-aged man, destroying his heart and soul. You dare. The old voice inside was instantly filled with killing intent. Chapter 55-63. The light in front flickered and turned into an old man. The old man was so angry that his body trembled. He stared ahead, his face frighteningly dark. How dare you try to kill me? He roared. Humph! I said that I would give you 3 seconds. However, if you don't come out after 3 seconds, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian said coldly. His attitude was very domineering. After all, they had come all the way here to force the Heaven Ascension Spirit Jade to hand over the antidote. This process wouldn't be simple. Hence, they had to be firm right from the start. Who are you? Young man, there are some places where you can't behave atrociously. The old man's gaze was like a lamp. Lin Xian said proudly. Me? Lin Xian. Lin Wudi. I am the leader of the Divine Union. This time, the Gu family, Yi family, Phoenix tribe, and other great emperor clans have followed me. Lin Xian waved his hand behind him, and the people behind him stepped forward. A powerful aura swept out in all directions. The old man's pupils shrank, and his expression changed. Damn it! How could it be so terrifying? He had originally thought that it was just a bunch of reckless people. Who would have thought that so many great emperor clans would come together. These people couldn't be thinking of attacking the land of absolute beginning, right? Although they were a forbidden land and were powerful. If so many great emperor clans joined forces, they wouldn't be able to handle it. He gritted his teeth. Damn it. What do you want? Do you want to start a war with the land of absolute beginning? Do you know how strong the land of absolute beginning is? It's not something that your great emperor clans can compare to unless your ancient emperor is reborn. Otherwise, you can't do anything to us. As he spoke, an ancient aura erupted from his body. At the same time, many stone talismans flickered on his body. Lin Xian smiled. Old man, don't be nervous. We won't attack you for the time being. I'm only here to make you promise me something. Why was the old man frowning? Lin Xian said, I heard that the land of absolute beginning has a piece of spiritual jade that condenses into a person in the jade and assassinates people everywhere. Now hand it over. What? You actually know? This old man was really too shocked. That psychic jade was their secret. How could anyone else know? Moreover, they had just awakened in the land of absolute beginning and had yet to come into contact with the people outside. Who are you? How do you know these things? He stared at Lin Xian with killing intent. If you don't want anyone to know, don't do it in the first place. Those jade people are too impudent. They actually dared to offend us. He had even offended these great emperor clans. This time, I've brought people here to demand an explanation. Do you really think the land of absolute beginning can be so arrogant as to go against all these emperor clans? The old man at the front had an ugly expression on his face. He quickly formed a hand seal and sent a voice transmission. This news had to reach the people inside. Soon, another woman walked out from inside. This was a middle-aged woman with a phoenix crown on her head. She was incomparably cold. He said coldly after coming out. So it was the various emperor clans. Jade Man is indeed from our ancient land of Grand Primordium. It's just that he snuck out to play behind our backs. I might have accidentally hurt you all, so I apologize to you all. Everyone, please go back. What? You want us to go back? The people at the back were also in an uproar. Was he a beggar? The monarch clans' faces also darkened. Their great emperor clans had always been the overlords of the universe. Who dared to treat them like this? Sure enough, the Yi family people snorted coldly. Yi Wudao walked out and said, So, what if you're from a forbidden land? Aren't you a little too arrogant? The Qilin son sneered. Just an apology was enough. Hand over the antidote. The land of Kunpeng walked out and said loudly, Hand over the spirit-channeling jade. Otherwise, if we join forces, even if you're from a forbidden land, you won't be able to resist us. Do you want to fight? The cold woman snorted coldly. Do you think only your great emperor clans can join forces? Unfortunately, forbidden lands can join forces as well. So, if we really fight, it won't be just your great emperor clans. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the monarch clans changed. The cold woman smiled. Of course, your great emperor clans are high and mighty. It's understandable that you're not convinced now. How about this? I'll give you a choice. We'll send 3 people here. You can fight one-on-one. As long as you can win, we'll agree to your request. We'll give you some antidote. How about it? This way, since they made a move, they would be able to probe the current strength of these emperor clans, and their foundations wouldn't be damaged. After all, they were only sending 3 people. The land of absolute beginning could advance and retreat freely. Sure, this was also a good opportunity. Those emperor clan people all laughed. They didn't want to start a full-scale war. Now that they were only sending a few people to fight one-on-one, they were still very confident. After all, the other party didn't limit them. They were only young people. The older generation experts could also fight. All right, everyone wait. After an incense stick's worth of time, we'll begin. The cold woman walked in. Soon, she arrived at the depths of the land of absolute beginning. There was a blood-colored jade floating there, emitting a blood-colored light. The cold woman said. Everything was going according to plan. There were a few stones around them. They stood there, emitting an ancient aura. These were all very mysterious stones. A few voices came from inside. The people of the monarch clans don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. They think they can fight against us. This time, we've awakened. We want to rule the world. The monarch clans can't stop us. Another voice sounded. The psychic jade in the middle snorted coldly. He said, I sense that the person in the jade I sent out was killed by someone. Moreover, I sense that person outside. When we attack later, we must kill him and suppress his soul. I want him to live a life worse than death. The old woman bowed, respectfully. Yes, I understand. Then she waved her jade-like hand. The three of you come out with me. 3 cracks appeared on the ground, and 3 pieces of rock emerged from the cracks. The light on the 3 stones gradually became brighter, flickering like stars. Who is awakening us? Is it our turn to appear? Humph, I'll tear the enemy into pieces. The 3 voices were different, but they were filled with incomparable confidence. The cold woman turned around and walked out with the 3 stones. Outside, the people from the monarch clans were also discussing. They decided to see who the other party sent first before making any plans. After all, they had more people on their side, so they had more choices. Lin Xian also stood with his hands behind his back, narrowing his eyes. He wondered how strong the land of absolute beginning was. Previously, the people sent out by the desolate spirit in Mount Eternal were all double-crown kings. The land of absolute beginning should be about the same. Suddenly, someone cried out in surprise. Look, they came out. Chapter 55-64. The people from the ancient land of Taichu had indeed come. After the surrounding people looked over, they frowned. It was actually 3 stones. What kind of enemy was this? Could it be a strange stone? There was a terrifying existence inside. Could it be some ancient thing? Some people from the families and sects frowned. The people from the emperor race were cold. Humph, so what? They had never been afraid of anyone before. The cold woman walked over and said, These 3 are the opponents that I have carefully selected for you. How about this? I won't bully you. You can send a total of 9 people. As long as one of these 9 people can defeat the 3 of them, then it's fine. What? 9 people? Was she looking down on them? The people from the Gu family were instantly enraged. The Qilin son, Kuan Peng's son, and the others also snorted coldly. There were 3 people on the other side, but they wanted 9 people. They were completely looking down on them. No need, just 3 will do. The people from the Gu family shouted angrily. One of them walked out. Old man, come. This was an old man. The power of space on his body was extremely terrifying. It was Elder Gu Shao. Countless people exclaimed. This was a veteran sacred leader. He was extremely terrifying. Many people heaved a sigh of relief. When such a person worked together, the power of space would definitely be terrifying to the extreme. Was he an elder? The cold woman on the other side narrowed her eyes, but she soon smiled. It didn't matter, no matter what age or cultivation level. They could come. He had checked, and the oldest among these people was only a sacred ancestor. There wasn't even a quasi-emperor, and there wasn't even anyone who had 1 foot in the saint realm. Then how could these people be compared to them? If a quasi-emperor didn't come, these people wouldn't be a match at all. There were still 2 spots left. Who should they send? Some people discussed. I'll do it. The Qilin son strode out. Now that his strength had increased compared to before, he was an extremely terrifying existence among the double champions. Moreover, he was the emperor's son, so when he walked out, everyone exclaimed. Although the fire Qilin was not as good as Lin Xian, he was still a very terrifying existence. He belonged to the top geniuses. They all looked at the last figure. Who was it? Should they let Lin Gongzi fight? Some people said. However, there were also people who said that they were not worthy of Lin Gongzi taking action. That's right. Lin Gongzi is so strong. I don't think we need Lin Gongzi in this battle. Voices sounded one after another. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes at Leaf Dowdenier. You just came out. Aren't you going to show off your skills? Fine, Leaf Dowdenier said. Since you're not going, I'll go. The three of them stepped out and walked forward. Elder Gu Shao of the Gu clan, the Fire Qilin, and Yi Wudao. Two young people. The aloof woman sneered. All right, let's begin then. The first stone flew out, and a loud voice came from it. He spun quickly and turned into a burly man. The big man held the giant hammer and said coldly, Old thing, go to hell. The hammer struck out, emitting an incomparably violent aura, causing the 9 heavens to shake. So powerful. Countless people were shocked. Elder Gu Shao sneered. As he opened and closed his hands, the space was banished. Endless space power condensed and swept in all directions. The opponent was instantly banished. Damn it! The burly man swept in all directions in the space storm. The war hammer in his hand was constantly waving, bringing with it a destructive aura. Heavens, he could actually resist the space storm. He was really too strong. Was this the Tai Chu ancient land? It was indeed terrifying. Cries of surprise could be heard one after another. After exchanging 50 moves, Elder Gu Shao completely let go of his opponent. He won the first battle. Countless people exclaimed, That's great. Elder Gu Shao's lips curled up. He was just SOSO. The aloof woman frowned. Space magic. Was he from the Gu family? A descendant of the Void Emperor? His face was cold. He did not expect the opponent to be so strong. But so what? He was a senior figure. It was one thing for him to be strong. He should be a living fossil. He would definitely not lose the other 2 battles. So what if these 2 young people were strong? In his opinion, Gu Shao should be the one with the most terrifying strength. As for the other 2, they were completely useless. He really did not think highly of these people. In fact, it was not surprising. The Tai Chu ancient land had just awakened and did not collect any information. In their opinion, this world was similar to when they were in hibernation. The human race had withered, and there were no experts. However, they did not know that the golden era had already arrived. These people had already experienced countless battles and tests. Their combat strength was shocking. Therefore, the Tai Chu ancient land had really miscalculated this time. The Fire Qilin came for the second battle. On the other side, a cold voice sounded. His body also emitted a terrifying flame light. It was a kind of earth fire. Do you believe that I can kill you in one move? The earth fire in the sky danced over. The Fire Qilin sneered. He walked among the fire. With just you? I am the king of fire. With a roar, a Qilin rune appeared on his body. There was also a terrifying phantom. Qilin arm. With a strike, it directly pierced through the earth fire. The strange stone was sent flying. The strange stone turned into a pale-faced man. He spat out blood, and his face was filled with shock. Damn it, what's going on? Who are you? The Fire Qilin roared. I am the Qilin sun. His flames became more and more terrifying, sweeping in all directions. The pale-faced man continued to vomit blood from his mouth. The cold woman's expression also changed. This aura. Bloodline. The Qilin sun. He was the son of a great emperor. Damn it. His expression was cold. Even someone like his disciple had made a move. The Qilin sun won the second battle. There was still one last battle. The cold woman's expression became incomparably ugly. He had lost both battles. This was a slap to his face. The imperial suns had appeared, but the last one should not be. This battle was incomparably won. Moreover, when he saw the third stone, the corners of his mouth curled up. This stone was personally requested by the psychic blood jade. It was very powerful. Not only did it have to win the battle, but it also had to kill the person who injured the person in the jade. Therefore, this stone was the most powerful. It's up to you now. the cold woman said to the third stone. The strange stone nodded. I'll kill you in one move. It stared at Leif Daudenier. Then it quickly transformed into a man in blood-red armor. He held a blood-red spear in his hand, which was dripping with blood. Kill. His blood-red eyes pierced the 9 heavens as he charged toward Leif Daudenier. Leif Daudenier didn't move at all. The blood-armored man's lips curled up. Had his opponent been scared silly by his aura? Fine. I'll kill him, then deal with the enemy. When he arrived in front of his opponent, Leif Daudenier reached out and grabbed the spear. Chapter 5565. Stupid thing. How dare you grab my weapon? All the blood in your body is withering. Go to hell. He sneered and waved his spear. But in the next moment, he was stunned, because he discovered that the other party's palm was like a boulder, making his weapon unable to move at all. How was this possible? Break for me. The spear trembled. That power was enough to shatter heaven and earth. However, Yi Daudenier's palm was unharmed. Yi Daudenier said, You're too weak. You disappoint me. He threw out a punch. Behind him, the phantom of a divine king of the 9 heavens appeared, suppressing everything. With a boom, the blood-armored man was sent flying, and his body was torn into pieces. He won. That's great. He won all 3 battles. The people from the monarch race cheered. They heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, they were surprised. Yi Daudenier was indeed strong enough. He was the Triple Crown champion. As for the cold and haughty woman, she was completely stunned. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What was going on? Why did this person feel even more terrifying than the second Imperial Prince? Who was he? What kind of aura was that? It felt like the Triple Crown champion. Impossible. How could there be an Imperial Prince and a Triple Crown champion in this era? This was impossible. He roared crazily. Lin Xian, who was beside him, laughed. The ancient land of Taichu is really trash. Didn't you investigate after you woke up? Originally, I had high hopes for you, but I didn't expect you to be so far inferior to Mount Eternal and the desolate forest. Damn it. How could it be like this? The cold woman's expression was ugly. The strength of these people was completely beyond her expectations. It seemed that the changes in this era were greater than they had imagined. Humph, don't be so smug. So what if you've become stronger? Can you really contend against us? The cold woman snorted coldly. At this moment, Lin Xian walked out and slapped forward with another large hand. Damn brat, how dare you attack me? He roared crazily. At the same time, he also attacked. He pointed out a finger, which transformed into a divine sword and pierced toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the demon god seal and slashed out. It carried a terrifying aura, as if the demon emperor had awakened. The cold woman was disdainful at first, but when she really fought with Lin Xian, she realized how powerful Lin Xian was. How could he fight against such a person? Damn it, the Triple Crown? He exclaimed. Leif Daudenier was already a Triple Crown champion, so who could have guessed that another Triple Crown champion would appear? And from the looks of it, this person was even more terrifying. With a clang, his finger was broken. Her scream was like a ghost from the 9th heaven, extremely ear-piercing. Not good. It's a soul attack. Quickly defend. The surrounding people retreated one after another, preparing to defend themselves. Lin Xian sneered. 6 paths of reincarnation. Suppress him. 6 illusory worlds appeared between heaven and earth, spinning nonstop, crushing his opponent's soul. At the same time, Lin Xian attacked again. The demon emperor's inheritance reappeared, turning into a terrifying demon god steel. A black, heavenly steel fell from the sky and hit the cold woman. Boom. The cold woman's soul was first attacked, and then she vomited blood after being hit by a demon world stone monument. His body was completely torn apart. Damn it, you dare to kill me? She roared crazily. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The demon world stone monument directly suppressed her. Then Lin Xian walked over and grabbed her with one hand. Kill you? No, you're still useful. Lin Xian walked into the land of absolute beginning. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. The people from the monarch race also said, "Let's go. Follow him." Now that things had reached this point, they had to continue attacking. Originally, the strange stones inside didn't care about the situation outside. However, when they discovered that Lin Xian and the others had entered, they were completely furious. Someone was attacking the array formation. Who was it? Inside the land of absolute beginning, these mysterious existences rose into the air one by one. Those were all strangely shaped stones. They emitted an extremely terrifying light, turning into rays of light that pierced through the front. It was those people outside. Damn it. How did they fight their way in? Could it be that they had won? That was impossible. Once we make our move, who can fight against us? Not good. Why do I feel like the array formation is about to shatter? Another round stone cried out in alarm. What kind of joke was this? Who could break through our array formation? Another stone that was as tall as a small mountain let out a low voice. It shook the void until it trembled. Just as he finished speaking, a rumbling sound suddenly came from ahead. Then, endless cracks spread out in all directions. The pupils of the strange stones inside constricted. The array formation was really broken. That was impossible. They were all stunned. In the next moment, they saw a group of people walking over. At the same time, an extremely terrifying aura of the extreme Tao filled the air. Damn it, it was an extreme Tao weapon. These people looked nervous and instantly rushed over. Stop. In an instant, 9 strange stones appeared. They stood between heaven and earth and were as big as small mountains. The small ones were only the size of footballs. Releasing an extreme Tao weapon here. Could it be that you want our human sovereigns to make a move? These strange stones turned into figures one after another as they shouted coldly, "Elder, save me." At this moment, a weak voice sounded. The 9 strange stones in front looked forward. In the next moment, their pupils constricted because they discovered that the cold woman had been injured and completely suppressed. Damn brat, you're courting death. One of the old men slapped out with his palm. His palm was extremely terrifying. It was blue, like the blue of the deep sea. There were extremely terrifying runes on it. The origin of this stone was extremely extraordinary. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "If you dare to move, I'll destroy your soul." With a crack, the cold woman let out a miserable cry. The blue palm in the sky stopped, and the killing intent in the old man's eyes was astonishing. "If you dare to touch her, I'll make you die without a burial ground. Don't worry, as long as you cooperate obediently, I won't bother to make a move on this piece of trash." Lin Xian threw the cold woman to the ground and stepped on her back. Then he looked forward. All right, it was time to get down to business. When the 9 strange stones in front saw this scene, they were so angry that they vomited blood. Who was this young man? He was too daring. Lin Xian didn't care at all. He said, "Where's the divine spirit jade? Tell him to come out." Hearing this, the pupils of the strange stones constricted. "Who do you think you are? How dare you clamor in front of us? You'd better cooperate obediently." The old phoenix walked over. That's right. Yi Wu Dao also walked over with his people. One by one, the monarch race and the clan of the ancients came to Lin Xian's side. Their bodies emitted powerful auras. So many people. What a terrifying aura. And I can feel the power of the monarch race. You're from the monarch race, and there's more than one of you. At this moment, the 9 strange stones in front were completely stunned. They didn't expect such a terrifying force to come. It was completely out of their expectations. Chapter 5566. The people of the ancient land of Tai Chu knew about the existence of the monarch races, but they didn't expect them to join forces. One had to know that the interests of these monarch families were definitely different. There were even grudges. So how could they join forces to fight against each other? But now, so many monarch families had come. The number of people shocked them. And from the looks of it, these people had already joined forces. How did they do it? Humph, who do you think you are? How dare you challenge Lin Gongzi? Hurry up and apologize to Lin Gongzi. The old Qilin of the Qilin clan walked out and shouted coldly. In front of him, the mountain-like figure was completely stunned. This was the Qilin clan. A monarch family was so protective of this young man. Could it be that this young man was an emperor? He looked forward carefully, but when he saw that there was a young man beside the old Qilin, he was completely stunned. That young man had the bloodline of a monarch, right? The other party wasn't an emperor, but his status was higher than an emperor. Who was this? The old phoenix also walked out and said, "Apologize to Lin Gongzi, or don't blame us for being impolite." Wow, the Phoenix clan was also protecting this young man. Lin Gongzi had once done them a favor, so apologize. The people of the Kunpeng clan also walked over. Next, the Yi and Gu families also expressed their stance. The 9 strange stones in front were completely stunned. So many monarch families were all standing beside a young man. And it seemed that this young man was the leader. Heavens! Who was this young man? Was he the reincarnation of a monarch? They were all crazy. Now, they finally knew why these monarch families could join forces. The reason was this young man. They all stared at Lin Xian, wanting to see through him. Lin Xian's face darkened. I'll say it again, and it's also the last time. Where's the psychic blood jade? Let him come over. How should I address you? At this moment, the old man in blue, who had attacked earlier, also spoke. This time, his tone was no longer as arrogant. Instead, there was a trace of shock. Lin Xian, Lin Wudi. So it was Lin Gongzi. Why was Lin Gongzi looking for the psychic blood jade? The old man even bowed, respectfully. His attitude was completely different from before. There was nothing they could do. Even the monarch families had such an attitude. This young man was too mysterious, so they didn't dare to be too presumptuous. Psychic blood jade. How dare you hurt my friends? I'm here today to ask for the antidote, and let the psychic jade to help my friends. Otherwise, don't blame me for destroying your ancient land. Damn it! The strange stone that was the size of the small mountain. However, he was stopped by the blue-clothed old man. The other rocks also wore cold expressions. They quickly transmitted their voices. What should they do? T. However, the sovereign of the human realm had not fully awakened yet, and was still making her final preparations. After all, that time hadn't arrived yet. There was still nearly a year to go. It would be great if it was a year earlier. Forget it. Let's take a step back first. Let's not have a conflict now. After a year, we'll make them all kneel at our feet. The strange stones discussed with each other. In the end, they decided not to have a conflict now, after waiting for a year. Therefore, they said, "All right, everyone, please wait a moment. I'll get the psychic jade to come over." The blue-clothed old man left to look for the psychic jade and tell it about the matter. The psychic jade was so angry that it almost vomited blood. Why? Lowering its head to a young man? And apologizing? Damn it, who did he think he was? One had to know that the origin of the psychic jade was also extremely extraordinary, but now it was too sullen. It was slapped in the face and couldn't even resist. There's no hurry. What we need now is time. We only need to wait for a year. Moreover, our judgment was wrong, which led to the current situation. Next, we have to properly investigate what's going on in this world and what changes have happened. The psychic jade had no choice. All right, I'll give you face. This time, I'll give in. But a year later, I'll destroy their souls. Don't worry, a year later, we'll rule the world without you doing anything. When that time comes, no one will be able to stop us. After discussing, the two of them walked out. When the psychic jade came out, everyone looked in front of it curiously. Was that the true body of the jade man? What a terrifying blood aura. This jade definitely had an extraordinary origin. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. That was indeed the case. He could sense that the blood-red glow contained within the sky-piercing spirit jade was extremely terrifying. Even if it wasn't the blood of a great emperor, it was still extremely terrifying. No wonder it could create so many jade men. You're the psychic jade, right? Hand over the antidote, and I'll spare your life. Even though the psychic jade was mentally prepared, it still trembled with anger when it heard such arrogant words. It almost fell out of the sky. It stared at Lin Xian. It's you. It gritted its teeth. It could sense that it was Lin Xian who had searched its soul. Hand over the antidote. Yi Wudao stepped forward. The old phoenix also said in a low voice. The Gu family, the Kunping family, and the others all shouted coldly. With so many great emperor families appearing together, even the psychic jade felt like it was facing a great enemy. It gritted its teeth and said, Fine, I'll give you the antidote. Its body shook, and blood-red light flew out of it, turning into jade droplets one after another. These jade droplets were crystal clear, and mysterious runes of the great Tao flickered on them. Put it on them, and they'll recover in 3 days. Great. It's the antidote. The large families and the clan of the ancients were overjoyed after receiving the jade droplets. This time, it went smoother than they had imagined. Lin Xian also took the jade droplets and said, That's good. If you dare to play any tricks, I'll cut you down with my sword. Let's go. Lin Xian turned and left with his people. Throughout the entire process, the land of Primordium didn't make a move, nor did it stop them. The demonic world steel on the cold woman's body disappeared, but her eyes were wide open. Even the elders didn't make a move. Was this young man already so strong? After Lin Xian and the others left, the psychic jade roared, Despicable ant! How dare he be so arrogant in front of me? I won't let him go. His name is Lin Wudi, right? Go and find out who he is. I want all the information on him. One order after another was given. The ancient emperor of Primordium's people began to search for information. This time, they were slapped in the face because they were careless and made a mistake. They promised that this would be the last time, and they wouldn't make a mistake again. Soon, all kinds of information about Lin Xian's battle achievements spread, causing the land of Primordium's experts to gasp. Chapter 5567. When the land of absolute beginnings saw Lin Xian's information, they were also stunned. They had not expected this young man to be so terrifying. Such a heaven-defying genius had actually appeared while they were in slumber. It was no wonder that those monarch races were afraid of him. It turned out that this person was too powerful. Tong Tian's spiritual jade said, So what if he was powerful? When the time came, he would be the first to be killed. Yes, that's right. The eyes of the other mystical stones were also shining brightly. In the past, such a person could have become an emperor. Not to mention this golden era. They could not let him have any hope of becoming an emperor. These people secretly gritted their teeth. As long as the time was right, they would attack Lin Xian. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others had also returned to the buried Emperor Star. They returned to their own sects and families to rescue their clansmen. Lin Xian and the others had also arrived at the Divine Union. On the way, they opened the frozen palace. The ice melted, and the jade drops were injected into the bodies of Baisusu, Savage Wilderness Ancestor, and the others. 3 days later, these people returned to normal and opened their eyes one by one. Am I done? The toad jumped up and took a closer look. Then it laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, I'm finally done. Kid, how did you guys do it? Lin Xian told them what had happened. Bai Susu and the others were shocked. It had actually gone so smoothly. It seemed like the land of absolute beginning had been too careless. If it had been the desolate tomb or Mount Eternal, it would not have been so easy. Indeed, Lin Xian nodded. It was indeed very smooth this time, but he also said that. What he said was, when the mystical stones were communicating with their souls, I used my Rinnegan to capture some of their conversation. It seemed like they were saying that they would take revenge in a year. What? When these words came out, Morong Qingcheng and the others were shocked. They did not know about this news either. Savage wilderness ancestor and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. They would take revenge in a year? So soon? Lin Xian said. Not only that, I'm guessing that the change of heaven and earth is related to a year later. Therefore, we don't have much time left. Everyone became nervous. Only 1 year left? To them, this was the true instant of a snap of a finger. Following that, everyone worked even harder in their cultivation so that they could prepare for the upcoming battle a year later. Miraculous things kept happening in the universe and in the myriad of worlds. The others also knew that a great opportunity was about to arrive. Heavenly Saber Sect. The saber techniques of the peerless Great Sects were extremely terrifying. A team from the Skyblade Sect. He had rushed over from the outer realm. They first went to train and gather information about the universe. When they returned, they were also shocked. They saw a jade rabbit jumping in the universe. Every time, the universe would collapse and the earth would crack as if it was about to be destroyed. They were only able to return by luck. However, they had brought back a lot of information that might be useful when the time came. These people quickly returned to their clans. However, along the way, their shadows were inexplicably connected. He couldn't even move his body. What's going on? I'm being controlled. These people shouted in fear and anger, trying to escape. As a result, their shadows stood up and directly attacked them. These people were beaten until they vomited blood. Damn it. The shadows actually counterattacked. These people shouted crazily and attacked the illusory shadows. However, these were their own shadows. They couldn't move them at all. However, these shadows easily subdued and suppressed them. In the next moment, a trace of emptiness appeared in their eyes. Everyone was controlled by their shadows. Humph! Soon, the corners of these people's mouths curled into a sneer. They walked back. These people returned to the Skyblade Sect. After returning, these people took out the information. The elders and leaders of the Skyblade Sect were very happy. They studied it carefully. However, at this moment, their shadows were also controlled and attacked them. A great battle broke out, and the Skyblade Sect fell into a strange state. Not only that, but other than the Skyblade Sect, some of the other sects and families were also inexplicably controlled by their shadows. This time, it was even more terrifying, because very few people could escape. After all, everyone had a shadow. In the end, 50 families and sects were controlled by the shadows. They attacked at the same time. Their target was the great emperor's family, and it was the Qilin clan. When the Qilin clan was attacked, they were also shocked. Did these people eat the guts of a leopard? They actually dared to attack them. Kill. These people shouted crazily. However, among them, many people from the Qilin clan were unknowingly controlled and attacked in secret. This caused the people from the Qilin clan to suffer heavy injuries. Quickly, activate the apex weapon. Damn it, who dares to control our clansmen? They roared crazily. In this situation, it was obvious that their souls were being controlled. A divine furnace bloomed with light between heaven and earth, illuminating the entire world. The aura of the apex weapon swept through everything. The dozens of clans were forced to retreat. Although the Chelan clan had settled down, they had also suffered heavy losses. After all, this time, the disciples of their clans had all been affected. These people's expressions were ugly. In fact, their Chelan son was injured. He was injured by his own elder. As for that elder, he was reduced to ashes by the apex weapon. What happened? It was the Chelan clan. The Chelan clan had used their apex weapon. Who dared to attack them? The people from the buried Emperor's star raised their heads to look at the sky. The Emperor clans also frowned. Previously, they had just been attacked by the person in jade. Now, the Chelan clan was being attacked. Was the land of Absolute beginning going to make a move? The people of the Divine Union were also in an uproar. Lin Xian walked out of the sword world once again. He frowned when he sensed the aura of the apex weapon. Everyone had to be careful. He told the people of the Divine Union not to go out. At the same time, a few of them went forward to investigate. The people from the Emperor clan also came. When they found out that it wasn't the land of Absolute beginning that had made a move, they were even more shocked. It was actually dozens of ancient clans. Were these people crazy? However, this wasn't the end. A month later, another battle would start. Their target was the clans of the Emperor clan. This time, they were attacking the Kuanpeng clan. The Kuanpeng clan had no choice but to activate their apex weapon. However, they still suffered some injuries. This made their expressions even colder. This was because they realized that the number of clans attacking them this time was even greater than before. They were crazy. They were completely crazy. The people from the Chelan clan were shocked. The others also sucked in a breath of cold air. What was the reason? Why were these clans so crazy? In an instant, everyone felt as if they were facing a great enemy. They felt that these dozens of clans were very likely being controlled by someone. Who could have such a heaven-defying method? How strong was the spirit? Even Lin Wudi's 6 paths of reincarnation couldn't do it. Chapter 55-68. Things weren't over yet. After this, more and more families, sects, experts, and rogue cultivators were controlled. The number had reached a terrifying level. There were hundreds of families and sects, and soon there were more than 300. And it was still increasing. This scene terrified the people on the buried Emperor's star. The target of these people was the great Emperor families. The clans of the martial monarchs roared furiously. For many years, no one had dared to challenge them. They had never expected such a scene to occur. However, they weren't afraid. So, what if there were more families and sects? However, the situation didn't ease. Gradually, in addition to the buried Emperor's star, the other worlds in the universe were also controlled. There were even some worlds that were completely controlled. Moreover, they attacked the great Emperor families. The great Emperor families were furious. At this moment, they had no choice but to treat it seriously. In the end, they even activated their extreme weapons. Extreme Tao power swept across the world. Those great Emperor clans unleashed their extreme Tao light, sweeping through everything in their path. The others were shocked. It was too unbelievable. When had the great Emperor families ever been challenged like this? Apart from Lin Wudi, no one had dared to challenge them. However, this time, someone had attacked the great Emperor families. It wasn't just one great Emperor family. A few martial monarch clans were affected. Who was the enemy? They actually didn't know. Could it be that another forbidden land was making a move? Countless people guessed. Naturally, the Divine Union was also affected. This was because they also had extreme weapons on their side. The people of the Divine Union were in an uproar. The Crimson Dragon said, "Damn it, this method was too terrifying." The Toad said, "Could it be that a great emperor has been resurrected?" Lin Xian frowned. He also unleashed his extreme aura. The heaven-devouring jar bloomed. forming an endless black hole that surrounded the entire divine union to prevent those people from attacking. He probed and said, "If it's soul control, how strong is this soul power? Even a boundary emperor couldn't do it. Is it really a great emperor?" He thought of the half-frog back then. Could it be the other half, using such a method to attack? Of course, this was only his guess. Besides soul control, there were other methods of control. There were some methods that he couldn't think of. If it were other methods, perhaps he would have a way to do it. Above the buried Emperor's star, there are extreme Tao lights flying all day long. Terrifying extreme Tao aura swept through the 9 heavens to fight against the other experts. Great battles broke out every day, causing countless people to feel terrified. They thought it was the end of the world because nothing like this had ever happened before. The only relatively safe places were the 2 forbidden areas in the human world and the residents of heaven. The Z Mansion also possessed imperial armaments. However, their identities were too mysterious. Thus, no one dared to attack them. Although the divine union had suffered a blow, they still had an extreme grade weapon. It would be very difficult for these people to break in. It was almost impossible. However, he still had to be on guard. If the Forbidden Land of Life or the Purple Mansion joined forces with these people, then the situation would not be good. Lin Xian had guessed correctly. Some of the Forbidden Lands had joined forces. Mount Eternal and Huang Ling once again brought the power of supreme beings to join hands with these people. They were preparing to attack the monarch clans. The surprising thing was that the Zifu Dao didn't do anything. The Purple Mansion had always been very quiet. It was unknown what the Purple Mansion was doing. The people of the Z government were also puzzled. A few elders had said that this was the best opportunity to attack Lin Wudi, kill him, and we can take revenge. However, the chief of the Z government said, "Nobody is allowed to go out, just wait." The time was not right yet. After he finished speaking, he ignored those people and looked up at the sky. This was only the beginning of the changes in the world. The real show was yet to come. He knew who these people were, but it was impossible for these people to attack the Ground Clan. However, it was enough to set off a storm. Sure enough, after the 2 Forbidden Lands joined in, the situation changed. The power of the Mortal Realm Supreme Weapon was extremely terrifying. Although it wasn't an extreme weapon, it actually dared to contend against an extreme weapon. In addition, there were too many experts, clans, and sects that were being controlled. All of a sudden, those great emperor clans were in danger. After all, continuously using an extreme grade weapon would consume a lot of their energy. Finally, on this day, the Yi family was the first to recover. The suppression of the Celestial Emperor's cauldron sent a group of experts flying, turning them into ashes. After the Yi clan, the Gu clan had also fully recovered. Their extreme weapons had repelled the attackers. In an instant, the situation eased a little. However, the remaining people didn't run away. Instead, they were still accumulating energy. The divine union also frowned. They had also used an extreme weapon. The desolate tower recovered fully and repelled the enemies. Damn it, these forbidden lands were actually targeting them. It seemed like they wanted to take revenge. Fortunately, they had 3 extreme weapons on their side. Even if Yenryu went back to protect the Demon Emperor Mountain, they still had 2 extreme weapons on their side. However, on this day, a blue radiance flew over from the sky. The array set up by the Crimson Dragon shook. What the hell was that? Many of his array formations had been frozen. What terrifying ice! Who was it? The people of the Divine Union were shocked. After they recovered their extreme weapons, those people didn't attack them. Instead, they confronted them. Who would have thought that someone would attack them today? Bai Susu, Toad, and the others walked out. Their eyes were shining with the most terrifying radiance. Did they want to fight? They would accompany them to the end. Wait a minute. Lin Xian frowned. Why did this ice feel so familiar? His 9 yang divine body began to sway. What happened to Brother Xian? Morong Qingchen was shocked. How could the divine body change like this? Even the dark red divine dragon said, "Kid, could it be that you've been plotted against?" Lin Xian said, "No, it's her. She's here." "Who was it?" The crimson dragon was shocked. Morong Qingchen was also puzzled. Lin Xian said, "Qingchen, do you remember what I told you about the 99 yang?" Morong Qingchen was also stunned. Then she said, "Could it be?" She naturally knew about Lin Xian's past. Lin Xian didn't hide it from her and told her everything. When Lin Xian had just arrived at the buried Emperor Star, he had met a woman who had obtained the 9 yang inheritance and even become Lin Xian's woman. Morong Qingchen knew about this. It was just that she had never had the chance to meet that woman. Who would have thought that she would come today? That's right, it was her. Lin Xian nodded. Only she could make the 9 yang divine body change like this. Chapter 5569. Lin Xian was extremely excited when he thought about her. He hadn't seen her for a long time, and he didn't know how she was doing. However, she had obtained the inheritance of the 9 yin divine body, so there shouldn't be any problems, right? He walked outside and opened the array. The formation opened, and Lin Xian went to welcome the other party. However, there was no one outside, and there was only that blue light. What's going on? Lin Xian furrowed his brows tightly. Morong Qingchen, the Crimson Dragon, and the others had also arrived. When they discovered that there was no one outside, they looked around as well. Lin Xian's eyes shone with the radiance of the reincarnation wheel as he looked at the blue light. In the next instant, his pupils contracted as he released the power of the reincarnation wheel and engulfed the blue light. Inside, he heard a weak voice. "Save me." "Not good. Xueqi is in danger." Lin Xian was instantly enraged. His killing intent soared into the sky. Who is it? He couldn't be forgiven for daring to attack his woman. "Elder brother Xian, what's going on?" Morong Qingchen and the others were also confused. Lin Xian said that Xueqi was in danger. How could this be? They were all shocked. Lin Xian furrowed his brows tightly. Who was his opponent? He didn't know. Where is Xueqi? He also didn't know. What kind of danger is it? He also didn't know. There was only a single signal for help. This was troublesome. The Crimson Dragon asked, could it be related to the recent situation? Many powerhouses clans had been controlled. Could he also be controlled by these people? Lin Xian frowned when he heard this. It was very likely. The person who had appeared this time was too mysterious. He had dared to attack a great emperor's clan. Moreover, it wasn't just one of them, but several great emperor's clans. Such a person was terrifying. Even if Xueqi had the 9 yin divine body, she wouldn't be able to resist him. Unless she had an extremely powerful weapon. No, I have to save Xueqi quickly. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. Send someone to investigate. Lin Xian used the Divine Union's power to investigate. He had to find her. The members of the Divine Union started to move. Lin Xian waited anxiously for a few days, but there was still no news. Morong Qingchen also said, Brother Xian, I've already sent the people from the Phoenix clan to investigate and see if there are any 9 yin bodies among the people who attacked the emperor. This kind of physique should be easy to recognize. Indeed, 9 yin and 9 yang belonged to the super strong physiques in the universe. Once it appeared, it was like a bright light in the dark night. Instantly recognizable. However, there was no news so far. Delong, do you have any ideas? Lin Xian asked Delong find out who the enemy is first, then I can help you analyze it. All right, just you wait. Lin Xian immediately rushed out. Not long after, he returned with dozens of experts in his hands. Without exception, these people were all suppressed by him. Black light appeared in the eyes of these people as they roared crazily. However, How could they possibly be a match for Lin Xian? They were all suppressed back. Crimson Dragon by Susu and the others also rushed over. When they saw these people, they exclaimed in surprise. Were these the experts who were being controlled? This was too unbelievable. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to investigate. The next moment, he was stunned. This was not soul control. Murong Qingcheng and the others were also stunned. This was not soul control. Then how could it control these people? Even the savage wilderness ancestor and the others were shocked. Lin Xian could only ask DeLong. This time, DeLong had a target and could analyze it. The next moment he said, I know. This is indeed not soul control. Then what is it? Lin Xian asked. Do you know? DeLong said, looking at their shadows, this was shadow control. Shadows? Lin Xian frowned and looked ahead. The next moment his pupils constricted. He said, retreat. After saying that, he slashed forward with his sword. Bai Susu, Ruzalong, and the others were still puzzled. In an instant, they realized that their shadows had suddenly changed and wrapped around their bodies. They wanted to envelop them. Damn it, what was this? The Crimson Dragon was stunned. Bai Susu's face was pale as well, and even Murong Qingchen was startled. She shouted angrily, and the seven-colored phoenix in her body erupted. It swept across the 9 heavens and blocked the shadows. The shadows quickly spread out. The shadows of the people from the divine union also started to sway. Lin Xian snorted, and a terrifying sword aura rushed out of his body and slashed in all directions. It slashed the shadows. The shadows let out mournful cries. No, impossible. How could you hurt us? Frenzied roars could be heard. Humph! Lin Xian snorted and attacked again. Every ray of sword qi cleaved these shadows apart. Soon, the shadows all fell to the ground and split into pieces. There was also a black silhouette that was tumbling nonstop. He roared in horror. No one had ever been able to hurt them before. However, this young man had done it. Who are you? Who are you? Lin Xian stepped on the shadow and pierced it with his sword aura, nailing it to the ground. That's what I wanted to ask you. Who are you? Tell me, and I'll give you a quick death. Don't even think about it. The shadow was still roaring. Lin Xian stabbed the shadow with his sword. The shadow let out a miserable cry. Then Lin Xian's sword aura fell like rain. In the end, the shadow was terrified. Kid, you're dead. Don't you know that I'm from the Devouring Shadow Clan? Offending me means offending the entire Devouring Shadow Clan. Let me go, and I'll spare your lives. Devouring Shadow Clan. The Crimson Dragon frowned. They had never heard of it. Could it be that it was a new 10,000 ancient tribe like the person in the jade? Lin Xian also frowned. What do you think, DeLong's? DeLong sighed. It was indeed them. The Devouring Shadow Clan was one of the 10,000 ancient tribes that had disappeared. They could control shadows. Anyone's shadow could be controlled. Those who were controlled weren't controlled by their souls, but by their shadows. That was why they couldn't control themselves. Next, DeLong explained in detail. Lin Xian was shocked. Murong Qingcheng and the others also knew. They sucked in a breath of cold air. Those who attacked the great Emperor clans were all under the Shadow's control, and they were all from the Devouring Shadow Clan. They were called Shadow Devourers. Each Shadow Devourer could control different amounts of shadows depending on their strength. The Shadow Devourer in front of them was obviously a very powerful one. Unfortunately, he met Lin Xian. Lin Xian's sword aura was invincible and restrained the other party. Since he knew who the other party was, he had a clue. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Speak. Did you control the 9 in body? Tell me. Don't even think about it. The Shadow Devourer sneered. Kid, just wait to be controlled by us. As he spoke, countless cracks appeared on his body. He turned into smoke and dissipated. Damn it. Lin Xian's expression changed. 6 paths of reincarnation. Search. The illusions of 6 worlds completely enveloped the fragments. Chapter 5570. The 6 paths of reincarnation appeared to suppress everything, but this time it was useless. This shadow devourer had actually chosen to die. He had fallen. Damn it, Lin Xian roared. He was extremely angry. He did not expect these people to be so ruthless to him. They would rather die than let him search their souls. Damn it, is he dead? What should I do? The Crimson Dragon and the others also frowned. Should we catch a few more to take a look? Lin Xian shook his head. These shadow devourers were all lunatics. Although he had only come into contact with one, Lin Xian could tell that these people were indeed too crazy. No wonder they were destroyed back then, and only came out after countless years. It must have been because of this method that they were destroyed after offending an extremely terrifying expert. Humph, no matter how powerful you are, since you have offended me, I will completely destroy you this time. Killing intent appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. However, the most important thing right now was to find Xueqi. He asked along if there was a way. These shadow devourers were very mysterious, and the number of people they controlled was too large. If you only rely on your strength to search, it would be like searching for a needle in a haystack. After all, the 9-yin body you mentioned might not necessarily be in Burial Earthstar. In the vast universe, unless you were a great emperor, it would be too difficult to search. Was there no other way? Lin Xian frowned. De Long said, "It's not like there isn't any. Go to the Sword World and take a look. There is a flower called Flower. If it opens, then you have hope. Using the flying snow flower, you can find the most terrifying ice in the world. If the 9-yin divine body was here, the flying snow flower would definitely look for him immediately." Flying snow flower? All right, I'll go look for it. When Lin Xian heard that there was a chance in the Sword World, he immediately set off. At the same time, he was shocked. This Sword World was indeed extraordinary. The others waited. After Lin Xian entered the Sword World, he began to search for the areas that he had not been to before. Although those areas had recovered their vitality, the pressure was extremely great. Lin Xian walked on top of it, his divine body swaying. He snorted coldly and activated his laws. The 9-yang divine body was also displayed to the extreme. He walked like a sun war god, blocking the attacks. But even so, he walked very slowly. However, Lin Xian didn't give up. 5 days later, he stopped and looked at a flower of frost in front of him. The frost was light and translucent, completely formed from ice and snow. It wasn't on the ground, but was instead dancing in the air. Lin Xian was overjoyed. Endless devil chi condensed between his fingers, forming a devil world cage. It enveloped him and brought him out. After coming out, Lin Xian activated the flying snow flower. After the flying snow flower appeared, it emitted a chilling aura, causing the scalps of the surrounding people to go numb. Even Morong Qingcheng trembled, Savage Ancestor, and the others were even more shocked. What was that? This was too terrifying. They had seen a lot of spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits in the world. However, this was the first time they had seen something as terrifying as Lin Xian's. Everyone in the divine union started to tremble as a wave of cold air quickly froze them. The pupils of the people in the divine union shrank, as if they were facing a great enemy. In their opinion, someone had come to attack them. However, that wasn't the case. Lin Xian said, "Don't be afraid. No one is attacking." He soared into the air and told Qingcheng, "Stay here and help me look after the divine union. I'll go. Be careful with Big Brother Xian. If there is any danger, you must contact us as soon as possible." Lin Xian nodded. He soared into the air and left with the sky-devouring jar. This time, he was on his way alone. His speed was extremely fast as he followed the flying snow, shuttling between heaven and earth. Along the way, he encountered a few sects that wanted to kill him. If this had been in the past, Lin Xian would have ignored them. However, he didn't do that now. He attacked these people because they were backed by the Shadow Devourers. Lin Xian hated the Shadow Devourers very much. He specifically attacked those shadows. His sword Qi contained an extremely terrifying and sharp power. The Azura sword skill was a killing move, and every strike of his sword pierced a hole through those shadows. Miserable shrieks were heard one after another. The Shadow Devourers fled quickly. They had never imagined that this person would be so terrifying. They wanted to leave. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His Rinnegan eye locked onto the other party as he attacked once again. The sword Qi shuttled back and forth like lightning, striking the other party's body and emitting miserable shrieks. Damn it! That Shadow Devourer mobilized hundreds of powerhouses to intercept him. Hundreds of powerhouses swarmed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian took out the sky-devouring jar and created a terrifying vortex. The aura of the extreme grade enveloped these hundreds of powerhouses. The Shadow Devourer felt his scalp go numb. Damn it! This was the power of the extreme grade. This was an extreme grade weapon. Who were you? He was really stunned. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Did you want to know? Go to hell and ask. He slashed out with his sword again. The Shadow Devourer still wanted to resist, but he was split apart by the sword. He screamed miserably. Shadow incarnation. His shadow turned into millions of shadows and fled in all directions. He swore that when he returned, he would call for more companions and send more than 10 families to suppress the other party. You still want to leave? Impossible. Lin Xian took out the Tai Chi diagram. The Tai Chi diagram shone brightly. The yin-yang sword appeared, and the overwhelming sword Qi pierced through all the hundreds of shadow clones. The clones split apart one after another. In the end, the shadow's true body was also pierced through. He screamed miserably, and his body and soul were destroyed. Lin Xian soared into the air and continued on his way. Along the way, he encountered more and more attacks, and those people were all suppressed by him. He took away all the storage rings. As for those Shadow Devourers, they were all killed by him. After the Shadow Devourers died, those who were controlled also recovered. They looked at Lin Xian and kowtowed nonstop, thanking Lin Gongzi for taking action. Lin Gongzi, I will never forget your kindness. Lin Gongzi, from now on, you are our leader. We will not hesitate to go through mountains of swords and seas of fire. These people kept kowtowing. Lin Xian said, if you are willing to follow me, then hide and wait. I will summon you one day. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xian's figure disappeared, and the others hid themselves. He flew all the way, and finally left Burial Earthstar. The snowflake was still flying in front of him. Every time it turned, it would shed light. After leaving Burial Earthstar, Lin Xian frowned. If he was in some corner of the universe, his speed would be very slow. He didn't know if Xueqi could wait for him. Fortunately, after leaving Burial Earthstar, the snowflake flew directly to Quintessential World. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. Could it be that he was in Quintessential World? Thinking of this, he grabbed the snowflake and used the teleportation array to teleport to Quintessential World. Chapter 5571. In the glacier of Quintessential World, the glacier was covered in ice and snow. It was a world of ice and snow. The other saints did not dare to step into this place because they would be frozen into ice sculptures. However, there were many people on the glacier at this moment. They covered the sky and covered the earth, covering this area. If these figures were seen by others, they would definitely be shocked. They were the experts of the various holy lands in Quintessential World. The current Holy Lands were much more powerful than before. They were not weaker than the remote antiquity families on Burial Earth Star. So many people were attacking together. Who was their opponent? There was a figure in front of them. It was a woman. She was dressed in blue and had an extremely beautiful face. At this moment, her face was extremely pale, and there was endless ice on her body. She turned into chains of the Great Path and swept in all directions. The entire glacier seemed to have been manipulated by her and turned into a land of ice and snow. The shadows under the feet of the experts of the Holy Lands opposite her started to drift strangely. One of them said, "This woman is really difficult to deal with. I did not expect that she could still resist." At the same time, another person sneered, "So what? Looking at her physique, she should have the legendary 9 body. Such a physique is extremely extraordinary. It's hard to find one in 10,000 years. Now that we've met one, it's our luck. This time, we must control her no matter what. With such a powerful puppet, we can sweep away everything in the future." The person who said this was also a woman. Of course, only her voice could be heard. Another man laughed and said, "Junior sister, don't worry. We have controlled so many people. Can't we do anything to her? It is only a matter of time before we can control her. Moreover, eldest senior brother is here. Eldest senior brother is the Triple Crown King. It will be no problem for him to suppress her. However, this woman is using the power of the glacier to fight against us. When she can't hold on any longer, she will die." The people who spoke were shadow devourers. They had controlled countless experts. They were preparing to attack the person in front of them. The person in front of them was Xueqi, who had the 9 body. Xueqi's face was extremely pale. She had been traveling in the universe. She had come to cultivate her 9 body. However, when she came to Quintessential World, the world changed and countless people were controlled. Furthermore, he was chasing after her. Fortunately, she was strong enough to avoid the pursuit of dozens of sections. But in the end, a Triple Crown champion appeared and directly entangled her shadow, causing her to be severely injured. At the critical moment, she fled to the glacier. He used the frost of the glacier to fight against it. However, he also knew that he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Over the years, her strength had improved by leaps and bounds, reaching an inconceivable level. Now, she was already the double champion. However, he couldn't compare to the Triple Crown champion. She thought that in a few days she would be completely controlled, so she sent out a call for help. She wondered if her husband would come. Xueqi suddenly thought of a person, a young, heavenly god. Although Xueqi hadn't seen Lin Xian in all these years, she had heard all kinds of legends about Lin Xian. Killing the crown prince, sweeping through the monarch race, killing the Triple Crown King, one powerful feat after another spread throughout the universe. Xueqi was both happy and worried. The stronger Lin Xian was, the happier she was. However, she was also worried that she wouldn't be able to catch up to him. That was why she hadn't seen him in all these years. Instead, she worked hard to improve herself so that she could catch up to Lin Xian one day and stand beside him. In the twinkling of an eye, 3 days passed. The woman from the devouring Shadow Clan couldn't bear it any longer. He snorted coldly, "I'm going to attack." He controlled more than 100 experts and walked forward. Xueqi also opened her eyes and activated the 9 divine body. Instantly, a terrifying wind and snow swayed, and the frost in the sky turned into terrifying blue claws that slashed toward them. These sharp claws appeared and disappeared mysteriously, and they instantly left countless bloody wounds on the bodies of the more than 100 experts. Many of their bodies were directly torn apart. It's so terrifying. As expected of the 9 divine body, the woman from the devouring Shadow Clan snorted coldly and said, "Senior brother, help me." The other person sneered coldly. He also urged more than 100 people to move quickly. At the same time, an even more terrifying power appeared. Xue Qi shouted angrily and waved her palms, which turned into ice and snow claws to contend against it. At the same time, the ice and snow in the sky were swept up by him and turned into boundless ice and snow. The ice and snow turned into a sea that surged toward them. The confrontation between the two sides was earth-shattering. Hateful, I can't even take it down. The woman was infuriated. Senior brother, please attack. The game is over. A cold snort transmitted from the sky, and a black shadow appeared suddenly. He spread out his hands and covered the sky. In an instant, the sky turned dark. Not good. Xue Qi's expression changed drastically, and she quickly flew toward the depths of the glacier. She had no choice, as this black shadow was the Triple Crown King, and he was the one who had injured her. Bang! An intense, rumbling sound echoed out, and the whole glacier shook. At this moment, the people in the quintessential world raised their heads and looked at the sky. They discovered that half of the world was covered by ice and snow, and it was spreading quickly. It seemed like it was going to freeze the whole world. It's too terrifying. What kind of person is attacking us? It's definitely the ice god. However, I can still feel an even more terrifying and gloomy power. Is that power the power that's controlling the quintessential world in secret? It's said that many holy lands have already been controlled. Some sects and clans were discussing this. And even the Yuhua celestial dynasty's immortal foundation experts furrowed their brows. They were also affected, and many of them even activated the ancient power left behind by the Yuhua celestial dynasty. Only then could they resist it. The void in the quintessential world fluctuated, and a figure appeared. It was Lin Xian. After Lin Xian came out, he sensed that the sky was filled with ice and snow, as well as the terrifying Triple Crown Wang Li. His expression changed drastically, and in the next instant, a golden radiance burst out of his eyes and tore through the 9 heavens. Xue Qi is in danger. He shouted angrily, and a pair of black wings appeared on his back. The wings spread out, and they tore through the 9 heavens. His speed was extremely fast. At this moment, not only was there ice and snow, but there was also a fierce wind. This was a storm brought about by the demonic god wings. It swept across 1,000,000 miles. Countless people raised their heads to look at the sky, and they saw a black lightning bolt disappear instantly. Heavens! What is this? The Holy Land's divine ancestors raised their heads to look at the sky, and their pupils contracted. Some living fossils were so scared that their scalps went numb. What kind of speed is this? Did some shocking expert descend on the quintessential world? It should be known that there were many divine ancestors in the quintessential world. There were even some powerhouses who had awakened from their slumber. After all, this world was also very mysterious. However, these powerhouses were still shocked. One could only imagine how terrifying was the person who was flying in the sky. Chapter 5572. A great battle was still raging on the glacier, and blood had already dyed the glacier red. Humph! Humph! You have the 9 body. Don't resist. You are no match for me. The woman sneered coldly. The man also snorted coldly. We will capture you and use you for us. The mysterious Triple Crown champion in the sky also said that everything had come to an end. He started to form hand seals. All of a sudden, Xue Qi's shadow started to sway rapidly. It seemed like she was about to lose control of his body. Xue Qi stopped abruptly, and she used her 9 divine body to its pinnacle to block the attack. However, she felt that she couldn't resist him any longer. This was because the Triple Crown champion was descending from the sky. Not good. Am I going to be controlled? Despair appeared in her eyes. All of a sudden, the void in the distance shattered, and a bolt of lightning tore through the sky. This aura caused the whole glacier to sway, and countless icebergs were shattered. The bodies of the Holy Land's experts, who were being controlled, started to shiver. Even the pupils of the shadow devourers shrank abruptly. They turned their heads around. Who is this person? What a terrifying aura! Xueqi also raised her head, and when she sensed the scorching power, she was shocked. She couldn't help but smile. Her husband is here. The shadow devourers furrowed their brows. Even the Triple Crown champion's expression became gloomy. This was because the person who had just arrived was extremely powerful. Hateful. The woman gnashed her teeth. The other man said, "So what? No matter how strong he is, can he be a match for our senior brother?" He was very confident in their eldest senior brother. He was the Triple Crown champion, and he could control thousands of experts. Such power could easily destroy several worlds, and he could even take down peerless factions and remote antiquity families. This was their senior brother, and he was extremely terrifying. This was why it didn't matter who this person was. As they spoke, the bolt of lightning in front of them had already arrived. A man appeared in the sky. His body was shrouded in golden flames and black, demonic energy. They revolved around each other, and he seemed extremely mysterious. After he arrived, he looked down. His gaze swept past the thousands of people, and he looked at a woman. When he saw Xueqi, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, although Xueqi was injured, she was still under control. He had suffered a great deal. Lin Xian descended and went to Xueqi's side. "I've made you suffer." He took out a drop of Life Divine spring water and fused it with Xueqi's body. Xueqi's injuries were instantly healed. This scene shocked the surrounding people, especially the Shadow Devourer, whose pupils shrank. The woman sneered. What a strong recovery ability. It seemed like this person had a treasure on him. Humph! No matter what it is, it will be ours in the end. I also felt that this person's physique was very strong, so I controlled him. The second senior brother, who had spoken, was also brimming with confidence. This time, the three of them had swept through countless holy lands. Therefore, they completely disregarded the person in front of them. Xueqi's eyes were also red as she said, "You've finally come. I thought you weren't coming." Lin Xian said, "How could it be? When I saw your signal, I immediately rushed over. Don't worry, leave the rest to me. I won't let you be in danger again." Xueqi nodded, but she still said, "Be careful. These people are very strange. They seem to be able to control experts with their shadows." Lin Xian chuckled. "Don't worry. Isn't it just a shadow devourer? It isn't a big deal." When these words were spoken, the second senior brother's pupils shrank. "You know us." Even the junior sister was startled. "It seems like you know a lot. Who are you? Tell me your name, as I won't kill nameless people." "Nameless?" Lin Xian chuckled. "You are too stupid. There isn't anyone in the world who doesn't know me. Instead, it's you who are like ants. Prepare to die." "Hateful, you dare to call me an ant?" The junior sister sneered. "Do you know me? I'm the Shadow Witch. Do you see the hundreds of people around me? They are all under my control, and they are all the Holy Land's super experts. Tell me, who are you?" "Me?" Lin Xian clasped his hands behind his back and spoke arrogantly. "Lin Wudi. Lin Wudi." The Shadow Witch sneered coldly, and the second senior brother next to her also snorted coldly. "You're really an idiot. Brat, you're too arrogant. Who do you think you are? How dare you call yourself invincible? The universe is vast. How many experts have you seen? Even our eldest senior brother doesn't dare to call himself invincible. You? That's right. I'm invincible." Lin Xian snorted coldly, then waved his hand, and a sword chi slashed forward. The sword was so fast, and the angle was so strange that it was impossible to guard against it. "Damn it, how dare you attack me?" The second senior brother roared. He controlled hundreds of experts, and charged over. These experts from the Holy Lands used the 5 elements laws, terrifying saber light, and terrifying array formations. The sword chi that filled the sky also charged over quickly. They charged towards Lin Xian. A violent explosion sounded. At the same time, a shadow flashed quickly under the ground and appeared behind Lin Xian. He shrouded Lin Xian's shadow. Lin Wudi, you are just an ant. Let me show you what a true expert is. He formed a seal with his palm. As long as he controlled the other party's shadow, the person in front of him would be an ant. If he asked the other party to kneel, the other party would have to kneel. He could control the other party's life and death. Lin Xian's shadow shook violently as well. It was as if it had turned into a large black net that enveloped Lin Xian's body. Kid, go to hell. Be suppressed. Seeing this, the Dark Witch smiled. Her second senior brother's move was called the shadow binding net. Even a sacred lord wouldn't be able to escape easily. Therefore, the young man in front of her would definitely die. Xue Qi, who was next to her, exclaimed, "Be careful, husband." Although Lin Xian was famous in the universe for being powerful, these shadow devourers were too strange. She had never heard of controlling a shadow. Moreover, her second senior brother was already so terrifying. There was also a Triple Crown champion here. Therefore, she started to worry about Lin Xian. Facing such an attack, Lin Xian didn't care at all. He allowed the large black net to envelop him. In the next moment, he turned his head and said, "Aunt, let me show you what invincible power is." Lin Xian raised his arm. Endless sword chi condensed in his hand. "I have a sword that can cut through the 9 heavens." As soon as he spoke, the sword chi slashed down. It seemed to have turned into a divine sword that could reach the heavens. The biting cold sword light shone in all directions. At this moment, the entire world of ice and frost started to shake. The earth cracked and the void shattered. The sword slashed toward the large shadow net. Boom! The incomparably strange shadow and the binding technique were shattered with a loud bang by the sword. No! The shadow's second senior brother's pupils contracted. What kind of sword technique is this? How can it be so terrifying? He turned around and tried to escape. However, it was too late. A divine sword directly enveloped him. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire glacier was split in half. In the true spirit world, countless people looked up at the sky. They were terrified. What happened? Did a sword god descend? Why do I feel like the whole world has been split open? Countless people exclaimed. At the same time, they were shocked. Is it that super figure from before? They didn't know. They didn't even dare to go over and look. They could only guess. Above the glacier, the ground cracked open, and endless ice and frost danced in the air. The powerhouses of the surrounding holy lands were also shocked. The shadow, which was even more scared. She was dumbfounded. What's going on? Where is my second senior brother? At this moment, there was no second senior brother. That shadow soul had already been destroyed. He had been killed by a sword. Chapter 55-73. The death of Devouring Shadow's second senior brother was unbelievable. The shadow which was stunned. That was her second senior brother. He was extremely powerful in the Devouring Shadow clan and had reached the divine ancestor realm. To be able to control 500 experts was as easy as blowing off dust. How terrifying was such a person? But now he was dead. He was killed by someone. He couldn't even escape in time. What kind of sword skill was that? The experts from the Saint Lands felt their scalps go numb. Although they were controlled, they were still conscious. They just couldn't resist. At this moment, when they saw this sword, they were all astonished. Even the eldest senior brother in the sky, the Triple Crown champion, was frowning deeply. That sword made him feel a sense of danger. Did he kill them? Xueqi's eyes widened. Then, a smile appeared on her face. That's great, as expected of my husband. She was completely relieved. Although the devourers were terrifying, they were still no match for Lin Xian. Lin Xian said coldly after he killed the devouring shadow, "Do you understand? This is invincible power." After saying that, Lin Xian turned his head and stared at the Shadow Witch. "Do you want to feel the power of invincibility?" The Shadow Witch was so frightened that she almost knelt on the ground. Her face turned pale. At this moment, the world was silent. Everyone seemed to lower their heads under Lin Xian's gaze. No one dared to resist, but at this moment, a cold snort came from the 9 heavens. "Kid, you have guts. How dare you kill someone from the devouring Shadow Clan? You're dead meat." The one who spoke was the eldest senior brother in the sky, the Triple Crown King. To be honest, he didn't pay much attention to Lin Xian when he first came. In his opinion, his junior brother could control the situation and kill Lin Xian easily. But when the sword slashed out, he was stunned. He wanted to save his junior brother, but it was too late. So his junior brother was killed with a single sword. How could he not be angry? His junior brother died in front of him. How was he going to explain it when he returned? This kid didn't put their devouring Shadow Clan in his eyes at all. Shadowless's face was extremely gloomy. As the triple champion, he had to take revenge. With a single roar, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire world was plunged into darkness. It was so dark that one couldn't even see one's own fingers. It was like the end of the world. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The divine flames on his body flickered and transformed into 9 suns that were fixed between heaven and earth. The world that was originally dark became completely bright, even brighter than the day. This scene caused the surrounding cultivators from the Holy Lands to gasp. This was a divine body. The 9-yang divine body was vast and boundless. At this moment, the surrounding world of ice and frost was melting nonstop. Lin Xian said, "Is winning the Triple Crown that great?" It wasn't like he hadn't killed one before. After saying that, he stared at the Dark Witch again and said, "Don't worry. I won't let any of your devouring Shadow Clan off." Lin Xian's eyes flashed with killing intent. The Dark Witch's pupils shrank. Her entire body was covered in cold sweat. Damn it, what kind of eyes were those? It was as if a god was looking down at her. At this moment, she felt like an ant that could be slapped to death by the other party. More importantly, the other party wanted to kill her. In front of his eldest senior brother, the other party had killed his second senior brother and wanted to kill him. "Damn it, save me, eldest senior brother." As he roared, he quickly retreated. At the same time, he controlled the hundreds of cultivators from the Holy Lands to charge forward. In the blink of an eye, he had already completed many actions. He had already retreated to the back. The cultivators in front had already surrounded the other party. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Scram! 9 suns, open the sky. Both of his palms struck out. 9 suns exploded, and the hundreds of cultivators around were all sent flying. In the next moment, Lin Xian used Shadowless Heaven's net. He was extremely powerful. His physique instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already beside the Dark Witch. A pair of cold eyes stared at the other party. How was this possible? The Dark Witch was completely dumbfounded. This speed and strength had completely surpassed her. She was no match for the other party at all, especially when she saw the other party raise his arm again. She roared crazily. Damn it, she had really gone crazy. She began to burn her life force. Shadow kill. Inescapable net. This was the ultimate technique of the devouring Shadow Clan. It was a forbidden technique. It was extremely terrifying. However, the price was also very high. After using it, her realm would drop, and she would be seriously injured. It could be said that both sides would suffer. However, at the most critical moment, The Dark Witch couldn't care less. Even if she died, she had to kill the other party. Her body split open in an instant, turning into thousands of shadows. Then they covered the sky and formed an inescapable net. Every shadow clone transformed into a sharp blade, and tens of thousands of sharp blades slashed out together. Shadow kill. Shadowless heaven's net. It was extremely terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the hundreds of cultivators from the Holy Lands. This time, you should be dead. You want to kill me? You have to pay the price. In her opinion, as long as the person in front of her retreated, she could live. If the other party escaped, she would be seriously injured by the backlash of the technique. However, her senior brother would also make a move in the next instant. So, it was worth it. However, what surprised her was that Lin Xian didn't have any intention of escaping. He just stood in the middle of the inescapable net. Damn it, what's wrong with this guy? Does he really want to die together with me? The Dark Witch gritted her teeth. Damn it, then let's go to hell together. She roared crazily. Thousands of shadow blades covered the sky and the earth. They attacked Lin Xian from all directions. They hit Lin Xian's body, making earth-shattering sounds. In an instant, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Ha ha, go to hell. I'll let you suffer thousands of arrows piercing your heart. The Dark Witch laughed sinisterly. However, her laughter soon stopped. She even became terrified. How was this possible? She was stunned, because she realized that the situation was completely different from what she had imagined. Her thousands of shadow blades hit the other party's body, but they couldn't break through the other party's defense at all. Instead, they were all repelled by the other party. What kind of physique was this? It was too strong. Even a sacred lord would die from this attack, but the other party wasn't even injured. Impossible, I don't believe it. Was this the legendary Great Emperor's physique? It was hard for her to imagine that a young man's physique could be so strong. Was this the strongest attack that you used with your life on the line? It was only SO. Lin Xian shook his head. His divine body trembled, and divine fire swept out. The surrounding shadow blades were all shattered. The Dark Witch was also sent flying. She spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and countless cracks appeared on her body. Her strength was rapidly decreasing, and she was suffering from the backlash of the technique. However, she only had one thought at this moment, and that was to use all her remaining strength to escape. The person in front of her was a demon god. She definitely couldn't resist. It was too terrifying. You want to escape? It's useless. You can't escape under my control. Lin Xian's body was covered in demonic qi. He stretched out a palm, and a cold voice sounded. Demonic path, crush. Chapter 5574. Lin Xian stretched out his palm, turning it into a large black millstone that fell without stopping. It instantly enveloped the Shadow Witch. The millstone spun at high speed, shattering the entire void. It was directly pierced through, connecting the universe to darkness. How could the Shadow Witch resist it? Under this attack, her body was shattered into pieces, and her soul was destroyed. Another insta-kill. The surrounding experts were terrified. The person in front of them was too terrifying. Lin Wudi. Was he the legendary person? It was indeed him. Only he could be so terrifying. After the two shadow devourers died, the control on these people was also lifted. At this moment, they were incomparably terrified. These experts combined were not a match for the two of them. However, the two of them were killed by Lin Xian in 2 moves. This was a true peerless expert. In the past, these people had only heard of Lin Wudi's name, but they had rarely seen him. Now, they finally saw the godlike young man clearly. They worshipped him in their hearts. This was true invincibility. Up in the sky, shadowless, the triple-crowned king was trembling with anger. Damn it! Even his junior sister was killed. Damn Lin Woody, I don't care who you are. You're dead. Not only will I kill you, but I will also control your family. I will control your sect and sect. I will turn all of you into puppets. Kneel at my feet. I will avenge my junior brothers and sisters. He roared angrily and quickly rushed down. Lin Xian was cold. Humph! 9 suns swept across the sky, shining in all directions. The two collided, setting off a shocking storm. Lin Xian looked around and said coldly, "Why aren't you scramming?" The experts from the Holy Lands trembled, and in the next moment, they bowed respectfully. "Greetings, Lin Gongzi. Lin Gongzi, we had no choice. Please forgive us, young master. We will leave now." After the controlled people regained their freedom, they quickly left. At this moment, the 9 suns in the sky slowly disappeared. Although he blocked Shadowless's attack, Shadowless used his strange movement technique to land on the ground. He stared at Lin Xian and said, "Kid, I will make you regret this." He quickly rushed over. Although Lin Xian killed his junior brothers and sisters in 2 moves, Shadowless was not afraid. His junior brothers and sisters were the strongest, but they were only double crown kings. If he wanted to kill them, it would only take 2 moves. In his opinion, although the person in front of him was strong, he was still no match for him. After all, he was the senior brother of the Shadow Clan. With a raise of his hand, he could control thousands of martial arts experts. How could the other party compare to such a method? Husband, you have to be careful. His strength is even stronger than the previous 2 combined. Xueqi also retreated to the rear and quickly reminded him, "Don't worry, I know. He didn't take me seriously." Shadowless, he didn't take Lin Shuiyu. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Very soon, I will let you know how powerful I am. After saying that, his figure suddenly disappeared without a trace. The surrounding people were shocked. Was this Shadowless? Shadowless and formless, he could instantly capture your soul and control you. In an instant, an invisible hand grabbed Lin Xian's shadow. Then, he said, "I will show you the real shadow control technique." He snorted coldly. Lin Xian's shadow seemed to turn into hundreds of chains that shrouded Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's body was bound. In fact, it even swept toward his hands and head. In the next instant, Lin Xian was completely sealed. "Kid, go to hell." After doing all this, Shadowless's figure appeared. His entire being was like a shadow standing in the void, constantly swapping between each other. A shadow sword appeared in his hand. The black sword pierced forward. With a boom, the sword pierced Lin Xian. It pierced through him. "Ha ha!" Shadowless looked up to the sky and laughed. Success, success. He wouldn't let him die so easily. He would torture him for thousands of years and make him wish he was dead. Then came the 2nd and 3rd sword. He was very proud of himself after dozens of sword strikes. However, at this moment, a voice sounded in his ear. "How is it? Are you happy? But this is just a dream. It's time to wake up." As the voice fell, Lin Xian's body suddenly split open. Not only Lin Xian's body, but the surrounding scenery also cracked and scattered like glass. Shadowless's pupils shrank. In the next moment, he spat out blood. His face turned pale. He held his head with both hands and screamed. His soul cracked open. "Damn it, that was an illusion just now. I actually fell for your illusion." As the Triple Crown champion, he naturally knew what had happened, but everything was too real. He didn't recognize that it was an illusion. That was impossible. He gritted his teeth and tried to look up. His eyes were red as he stared straight ahead. "I used the Shadowless movement technique just now. No one among the Sacred Lords can find it. Even the Triple Crown champion can't find it. How did you find me? And you can make me fall for your illusion?" He was incomparably shocked by this point. Lin Xian smiled. There were strong and weak Triple Crown champions. Plus, I've killed the Triple Crown champion before. He was even stronger than you. You're just strange and can control other experts. If you don't have that, you're no different from a piece of trash. What did you say? How dare you look down on me? Shadowless roared. Who was he? He could destroy a clan of the ancients by himself. How terrifying was such a method? But now he was actually being looked down upon by others. Shadowless split the sky. Shadow splitting light. Shadowless's body disappeared again. At the same time, the world continued to shatter. Not only that, but the light in the surroundings dimmed again. It was as if nothing could be seen. Clearly, this move was resisting Lin Xian's soul eye technique. Although the Saint Emperors in the distance had retreated, they were still extremely terrified when they saw what was happening. One had to admit that Shadowless's moves were too powerful. Lin Xian was enveloped by the terrifying power, but his lips curled into a smile. I've said it before. There are strong and weak Triple Crown champions. You're too weak. You're the weakest Triple Crown champion I've ever seen, so you're not my match. With that, Lin Xian raised his arm and condensed a sword again. I have a sword that can cut through the underworld. The sword fell, and the ground shattered. It was as if the underworld had been split open. The world was also split open. The darkness disappeared, and light reappeared. Shadowless's body was erratic, but he was still sent flying by the sword and spat out blood. His body was split in half and couldn't heal at all. Chapter 55-75. A figure flew out and crashed into an iceberg. Endless ice and snow danced in the sky. The sacred body experts in the distance were stunned when they saw this scene. What just happened? They couldn't see anything. With their strength, they could only hear the sound. Only when Shadowless retreated did they see him. However, when they finished reading it, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Shadowless was split in half by a sword. That's impossible. The surrounding people went crazy. They couldn't even see where Shadowless was, let alone hit him. And Shadowless was a Triple Crown champion. At this moment, even the other powerhouses of the quintessential world rushed over. There were some new rising geniuses, some old Saint Lords, and living fossils. They didn't get close. Instead, they stood far away and watched. After all, the previous battle was a Triple Crown champion's battle power. It was so terrifying that it spread throughout the world. One of the living fossils said with a frown, Shadowless was a Triple Crown champion, and his super strong movement technique was extremely strange. Even if he was also a Triple Crown champion, he couldn't injure him with a single sword. Beside him was a genius with a long sword on his back. He was a newly risen genius, and his strength was extremely terrifying. He said, That's impossible. Sword Chi couldn't do it. Lin Wudi must have a super powerful weapon. Didn't they say he had an extreme weapon? Maybe he used the extreme weapon's power. They had no choice but to guess. This was because Lin Xian's strength had completely exceeded their knowledge. They had never seen such a powerful person before. Shadowless let out a miserable cry from the crack in the glacier. He was split in half and couldn't heal. The sword Chi was so sharp that he wanted to die. The two halves of his body kept shaking. Damn it! How dare you hurt me? I'll make you wish you were dead. She rushed over crazily. The next moment, a black net flew out of the two halves. Seeing this, the Sacred Land powerhouses shook their heads. Shadow binding net? It was useless. This move didn't work on Lin Wudi. However, the pupils of the older living fossils shrank. No, it's a weapon. It's a super powerful weapon. I feel fear. Sure enough, the sacred artifacts of the surrounding people began to shake violently. He couldn't help but want to submit. Brat, this weapon is the sacred weapon of our devouring shadow clan. Immortal binding net, it's said that it can even trap immortals. Let's see how you can escape. Shadowless laughed complacently. This was his trump card. The other people's pupils shrank when they heard this. A few living fossils said, "Immortal binding net, I seem to have heard of it before. It is an extremely terrifying weapon. As long as one was trapped, one would be completely suppressed, no matter how strong one was. Then Lin Wuti would be in danger. Unless he was a quasi-emperor, he might be able to escape. Otherwise, he would definitely be suppressed." Countless cries of surprise rang out. Shadowless was very fast. With a wave of his hand, the immortal binding net flew out. The immortal binding net floated between heaven and earth. Although it was only a few meters wide, it caused the entire world to shake violently. It's over. This young man is dead for sure. He didn't expect Shadowless to have such a terrifying weapon. Countless people shook their heads and sighed. Look, Lin Wuti didn't run away at all. What was he doing? Was he going to use an extreme weapon? Countless people guessed. Some people also said that they didn't feel the power of an extreme weapon until now. Did he not bring it with him? If he didn't bring an extreme weapon, he would be dead for sure. Husband, Xue Qi also exclaimed. He was also surprised. Why didn't Lin Xian run away? After all, this weapon was too powerful. Lin Xian didn't run away and allowed the immortal binding net to fall. Kid, you stupid thing. Do you think you can compete with the immortal binding net with your strength? Shadowless laughed complacently. He seemed to have seen victory. Lin Xian looked calm. Immortal binding net? You want to bind an immortal? You are just an ant. How do you know the power of an immortal? Now, I will show you a power that you have never seen before. A flame appeared between Lin Xian's brows. It was the divine flame seed. The immortal binding net only had a scary name. It couldn't withstand a single blow from a real immortal. It couldn't even trap a quasi-emperor, let alone an immortal. Lin Xian was going to use the power of the divine flame to show his opponent what it meant to surpass everything. What was Lin Wuti doing? Was he going to use his divine body to fight? No matter how strong his divine body of 9 yang was, it couldn't withstand the immortal binding net. The surrounding experts all sighed. However, Lin Xian waved his hand. The divine flame flickered quickly and flew toward the net. When the flame appeared, everyone's souls trembled. The living fossils of the older generation were so scared that they almost knelt on the ground. Heavens, what kind of power is this? Why do I feel so terrified? This is a power that surpasses everything. The eyes of countless living fossils turned red. This power was beyond them. It was an existence that they looked up to. What kind of feeling was this? They had only seen it on some legendary figures. Why did they see it in a young man at this moment? Could it be that Lin Wuti had taken that step? Impossible. They shook their heads frantically. It's useless. Your flame can't block it. Shadowless sneered. However, when the flame appeared, Shadowless stopped smiling. He was also terrified. Damn it, what kind of flame is this? This is impossible. He felt an unprecedented sense of crisis. At this moment, his confidence was shaken. He was even worried. Would the immortal binding net be able to withstand such flames? In the next moment, under the gaze of countless people, the divine flame landed on the immortal binding net. In the next moment, the immortal binding net shook violently and then broke from the middle. No, a shrill cry rang out. The others were dumbfounded. The immortal binding net was said to be able to bind everything in the world. Even immortals had to retreat, but at this moment, it was interrupted by a flame. This scene was absolutely shocking. It wasn't over yet. Under the flame, the immortal binding net first broke and then quickly cracked. In the end, it turned into ashes and scattered with the wind. It disappeared. This legendary sacred weapon was actually directly hit by Lin Xian and disappeared. Damn it! Shadowless's broken body quickly ran away. Very smart, the two halves of his body fled in two different directions. In an instant, he was above the 9 heavens. Above his head was the universe's starry sky. He turned his head to look down and said coldly, "Lin Woody, right? I'll remember you. When I go back, I'll lead the absolute power of the devouring Shadow Clan to crush you. You and your companions, wait for your death." After saying that, his figure disappeared into the starry sky. Oh no, I let him escape. It's over. Lin Woody will be in trouble in the future. Lin Xian looked up at the sky. There was a terrifying light in his eyes, flickering. On his forehead, the mark of the divine flame became even brighter. Then the divine flame and the Rinnegan merged, emitting an extremely terrifying flame light. Chapter 5576. Wherever his gaze landed, the universe would be destroyed. Shadowless escaped into the universe and laughed proudly. This time, when he returned, he would definitely take revenge. He would return the pain he had suffered today 100 times, no, 10,000 times over. However, at that moment, a ray of light shot out from below and enveloped him like a divine rainbow. No, he screamed miserably. This was the divine flame. If even the immortal binding net could be destroyed, what more him? He wanted to escape, but he couldn't. What made him even more terrified was that he could sense that the other half of his body was also being attacked by this divine flame. Could it be that he was going to die here today? When he thought of this possibility, he was terrified. He wanted to ask for help and even beg Lin Xian for mercy. However, before he could say anything, he turned into ashes and scattered in the darkness of the universe. Had he died, countless powerhouses and divine ancestors in the quintessential world looked up at the sky. When they saw this scene, they sucked in a breath of cold air. With a single glance, a Triple Crown champion had been destroyed. What kind of power was this? The newly risen geniuses were terrified. The older generation's living fossils also felt their scalps go numb. In their hearts, the Triple Crown champion was a high and mighty existence. He was even their idol. However, such a person had been defeated so easily. There was even a young genius with a long sword on his back who shook his head frantically. That's impossible. I must be dreaming. How could someone be so strong? Could he have surpassed the Triple Crown champion? The living fossils were also shocked. This power seemed to surpass everything. It seemed like Lin Woody wasn't far from the Boundary Emperor realm. Previously, when they heard that he had killed the Triple Crown champion, they didn't believe it. Now, it seems like he had killed him easily. However, some people frowned. Although Lin Woody was strong, he had offended the ancient tribe. However, this time, he had offended a member of the ancient race. Moreover, it was a member of the ancient race that had disappeared for a long time. The devouring Shadow tribe was extremely mysterious and could control the ancient families. If they gathered enough power, they could even control many realms. Would Lin Woody be able to deal with such an existence by himself? When the time came, countless sects and clans would attack the divine union together. Many people shook their heads and sighed at the thought of this. Xueqi was originally very happy. However, when she heard this, she started to worry about Lin Xian. "Husband, I'm the one who harmed you." Xueqi was filled with regret. Lin Xian said, "It's fine. There's no need to listen to them." So, what if they were from the devouring Shadow Clan, let alone a Triple Crown champion? I don't even care about the entire devouring Shadow Clan. If they provoke me, I will make them disappear from the universe again. Lin Xian's eyes flashed with a terrifying killing intent. He was no longer a weak youth. Instead, he would grow to become a supreme existence that could stand above the 9 heavens. Was the 10,000 dragon imperial court powerful? Wasn't he still chased away by him? Was the Purple Palace realm powerful? Wasn't a mountain gate closed because of him? So, what if the Shadow Devourer could control others? Lin Xian's sword could cut through everything. What happened here quickly spread to the entire true spirit world. Those holy lands were also shocked when they heard this. Originally, they had lost all hope when they were being controlled. They didn't expect that someone would save them. The person who had saved them was actually Lin Wudi. More importantly, Lin Wudi hadn't come to save them. He had just casually killed a few devouring Shadow Clan powerhouses. In an instant, the world was in an uproar. Some holy lands felt their scalps go numb. It's over. The devouring Shadow Clan is angry. Will they send even stronger people? If that happens, all the holy lands will suffer. They didn't know whether Lin Wudi's arrival was a blessing or a curse. These people were all terrified. Some people also suggested that they should directly join the Divine Union. Let Lin Wudi protect them. This was a good idea. Some holy lands were tempted. Some holy lands gritted their teeth, as they felt that Lin Wudi's actions would implicate them. In an instant, all sorts of discussions were going on. The land of absolute beginning naturally received the news as well. Lords and elders, Lin Wudi has come to the true spirit world again. What? He's here again? Is he trying to go against us? The strange rocks in the land of absolute beginning were instantly enraged. Old Zhang, please calm down. He's not targeting us. The aloof woman quickly recounted the events that had transpired. After being slapped in the face by Lin Xian and a few monarch clans, the land of absolute beginning knew that the current world had changed beyond their imagination. Hence, from then on, they had been frantically collecting information. At least, they would know everything that happened in the true spirit world immediately. They would also do their best to collect information about other worlds. They had long known about the appearance of the Devouring Shadow Clan, but they didn't make a move. The Devouring Shadow Clan couldn't do anything to them. However, Lin Wudi had come and killed the Devouring Shadow Clan. This surprised them. At the same time, they felt that this was an opportunity. This kid was really bold. Last time, he brought the Monarch clan and the clan of the Ancients. They were so powerful that we couldn't do anything about it. This time, he actually came alone. This is a good opportunity for us. The strange rock that was the size of a small mountain said coldly. The heaven-connecting spiritual jade released endless killing intent. Kill him. He couldn't be allowed to live anymore. That was exactly what it wanted. The other round rock also snorted coldly. Last time, he was detained by the monarch clans and had to apologize to Lin Xian. As a supreme existence who had lived for countless years, he had lost all his face. Hence, this time, he wanted to take revenge. This Lin Wudi was definitely not simple to be able to kill the Triple Crown King. He should be an extremely terrifying existence among the Triple Crown Kings. Just like that, 2 Triple Crown champions and 4 Double Crown champions were sent over with supreme weapons. They had to take him down. The land of absolute beginning had made a move this time, and it was a very powerful force. 2 Triple Crown Kings. This was unimaginable in any clan or sect. Even the monarch clan's eyelids would twitch wildly. Hence, they were very confident. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he could defeat one, but could he defeat 2? On the glacier, Lin Xian wanted to leave with Xueqi. However, at this moment, heaven and earth shook, and a monstrous power swept over. Feeling this power, everyone's expression changed drastically. Who was it again? What a terrifying aura. Heavens, why do I feel like I want to kneel down? Could it be that the Devouring Shadow Clan had come to take revenge? Countless terrified voices sounded. If that was the case, they wouldn't be able to resist at all. Xueqi was also nervous. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry." He looked up, and his gaze pierced through everything. Then he snorted coldly. It wasn't the Shadow Devourers. It was the people from the land of absolute beginning. the land of absolute beginning. Xueqi was shocked again. This was also a forbidden land in the mortal world, and it was even more terrifying than the devouring Shadow Clan. What were they doing here? The others were even more terrified. The land of absolute beginning was incomparably mysterious in the true spirit world. No one dared to go there. Now that such people had come, were they here to target Lin Xian? Chapter 55-77. In the sky, 6 figures descended from the sky. Each of them was extremely powerful. These people carried stone talismans and were extremely mysterious. One of the women had a cold expression, like a high and mighty fairy from the 9 heavens, making countless people look up to her. Lin Xian, on the other hand, smiled. That was because that was the woman he had suppressed. Lin Wuti, do you know your crime? After the people from the land of absolute beginning arrived, they shouted angrily, and the other souls shook. As expected, they were here for Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled. The cold woman said coldly, "You killed someone from the Devouring Shadow Clan. The Devouring Shadow Clan will definitely control countless clan experts to kill you. You won't be able to resist at all. Now, the land of absolute beginning will be merciful and give you a chance to live. Obediently kneel and kowtow to the land of absolute beginning, and we can protect your life." As soon as these words came out, countless people were in an uproar. This was indeed a way to save one's life. Some people from the sacred grounds couldn't help but kneel and submit. Lin Xian laughed heartily when he heard that. "You're just a loser. Do you have the right to say such words to me? Last time, I easily suppressed you. If it wasn't for your ancestor pleading for mercy, you would have already gone to hell. What? It's only been a few days, and you've already forgotten. Do you want me to help you remember and suppress you again?" A trace of demonic qi appeared on Lin Xian's body. The cold woman was so angry that her entire body trembled. This was the most embarrassing thing for her. But she didn't expect the other party to mention it again, and in front of so many sacred ground experts. "Shut up," she shouted crazily. The others were also shocked. No way. Lin Wuti had suppressed an expert from a forbidden land? Impossible. The land of absolute beginning was an existence even more terrifying than the Devouring Shadow Clan. However, no one came out of the land of absolute beginning, so they weren't in danger. But that didn't mean that the land of absolute beginning was weak. If one of them came out, they could intimidate the world. Many young people even felt that Lin Wuti was bragging. How could he fight against a supreme existence like the ancient emperor of absolute beginning? Lin Xian smiled. "What? A loss is a loss. You still won't admit it?" The women gritted their teeth. "Last time, I was careless and was ambushed by you. This time, we definitely won't lose again." After that, a man in blood-red armor walked over from afar. This person's entire body was emitting a murderous aura. There was a blood-colored saber in his hand. It was incomparably terrifying. "Lin Wuti, this is the last time I ask you. Will you kneel and surrender?" He was none other than the Jade Immortal formed by the heaven-span spirit Jade. Furthermore, he was a terrifying Jade Immortal, the Triple Crown King. Moreover, it was the sanguine-killing Triple Crown King. In the surroundings, the new geniuses and the older generation experts trembled in fear. Under this murderous intent, they had no power to fight back. At the same time, they were shocked. This blood-red figure was actually a Triple Crown champion. Heavens, as expected of the ancient land of absolute beginning. Any random person that came out was a Triple Crown king. "Just you?" Lin Xian shook his head. "Not long ago, I killed another Triple Crown champion. Do you think you have the right to challenge me?" As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people all sucked in a breath of cold air. Indeed, although the Triple Crown winner was terrifying, Lin Wuti seemed to be even more terrifying. Therefore, it was hard to say who would win and who would lose this battle. Kid, you are very arrogant, but the ancient land of absolute beginning has already expected this. Therefore, this time, 2 Triple Crown champions came. The cold woman sneered. Behind her, another figure walked out. This person was wearing earth armor, and his figure was tall and straight, looking extraordinarily mighty. He carried a warhammer on his back, and every move he made contained boundless power. The surrounding people went crazy. Was this a second Triple Crown champion? The ancient land of absolute beginning had actually sent out 2 Triple Crown champions at the same time. Was this the power of a forbidden land? It was too terrifying. These 2 people were enough to sweep through the true spirit world. Perhaps even on the Earth burial planet, there was no one who could be a match for these 2 people. Xueqi's expression also changed. She wasn't worried about 1 Triple Crown champion. However, when it came to 2 Triple Crown champions, she was incomparably anxious. He said, "Husband, why don't we leave first? You want to leave? Do you think you can leave?" The cold woman sneered. The King of Earth and the King of Blood walked out, completely cutting off Lin Xian's path. The other 4 were also Double Crown champions. They displayed their powerful strength and sealed off the surroundings. The people of the sacred land quickly retreated. They were in despair. 2 Triple Crown champions, 4 Double Crown champions. This kind of battle prowess could sweep through everything. No one could stop them. This time, Lin Wuti was really done for. He could have offended anyone, but he had to offend a forbidden land. Was this something he could offend? It was said that back then, even the great emperor didn't have the upper hand against the forbidden land. No matter how strong Lin Wuti was, could he be stronger than the great emperor? Everyone shook their heads and sighed, not optimistic about Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression also darkened. 2 Triple Crown champions? They were indeed strong. Moreover, it seemed that the ancient land of absolute beginning had learned their lesson. They should have been collecting information about him during this period. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent out such a lineup. However, could 2 Triple Crown champions really stop him? Lin Xian felt that it wasn't enough. The King of Blood Massacre walked out, the battle blade in his hand pointed forward. Under the orders of the Heaven's spiritual jade, "I will kill you. Kneel and accept your death. Kid, let's see how you die today." The cold woman behind him sneered. Lin Xian raised his head, the eye of reincarnation shining brightly. Noisy, an ant, a defeated opponent, jumping in front of me time and time again. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? The power of reincarnation appeared, and the cold woman instantly hugged her head and screamed. He was taken down from the sky and was severely injured. His soul was torn apart. Ah, kill him quickly. You must kill him. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people went crazy. He was really too strong. Originally, they thought that Lin Xian couldn't beat the people of the ancient land of absolute beginning, and that what he said before was just bragging. But now it seemed that this wasn't the case at all. This cold woman couldn't fight back in front of Lin Xian. Perhaps she really was suppressed before. Remember, in front of me, you really don't have any right to challenge me. Lin Xian used Shadowless Heaven's net, and his speed reached the extreme. At the same time, he arrived beside the cold woman. Azura sword technique, third sword. He stabbed out. This was a fatal blow. The sword directly pierced through her forehead. The cold woman's pupils dilated, and she fell to the ground. "How dare you?" The King of Earth roared and struck out with his battle hammer. The King of Blood Massacre's expression was also ugly. In front of 2 Triple Crown champions, Lin Xian easily killed a Double Crown champion. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. Thinking of this, the King of Blood Massacre slashed out with his blade. The blade energy was shocking, like a blood dragon slashing towards Lin Xian. The power of the Blood Massacre was really too strong. However, Lin Xian laughed. The Heavens battle map appeared in his hand, and he directly grabbed it. The Heavens battle map merged with his palm and instantly grabbed the blood blade. Chapter 55-78. This blade was extremely terrifying, but it was caught by Lin Xian. This scene shocked everyone. The king of blood fiends also roared. He wanted to break Lin Xian's palm. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You want to hurt me? Ridiculous." The divine flame flew out from his palm. The mark of the divine flame also appeared between his eyebrows. This time, the power of the flame was extremely terrifying. The blood blade actually started to melt. Then it broke into two. Boom. With a loud sound, the king of blood fiends' blade flew out. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. He was completely stunned. His blood blade actually broke. Damn it, how is this possible? The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. They already knew that this would happen. One had to know that the immortal binding net had already melted, let alone this blood blade. However, the few people from the ancient land of absolute beginning were incomparably shocked. One had to know that the king of blood fiends was the Triple Crown King. The killing intent on his body was extremely shocking, but now he was at a disadvantage right from the start. This really shocked them. The king of earth walked over and said, "Don't fight him alone. He's extremely terrifying. Let's work together and take out our supreme weapons." After saying that, the king of earth waved his hand. A huge cauldron appeared in his hand. It was a huge cauldron condensed from rocks. There were actually cracks on it. However, its power was really too terrifying. The moment it appeared, it swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The surrounding people were so frightened that their scalps went numb. They were incomparably terrified. What kind of power was this? Could it be an extreme weapon? No, I've seen extreme weapons before. I've felt their power. It wasn't like this. A living fossil cried out in alarm. This should be a weapon unique to the forbidden land of life. Its power should be similar to an extreme weapon. What? The forbidden land of life was actually so terrifying. No wonder the Arch had a headache in the past. After the stone cauldron appeared, it emitted a heavy power that shattered heaven and earth. Many spectators spat out blood and were sent flying. They were pushed far away and only dared to watch through the formation. Xueqi also felt a huge pressure. She shouted angrily, and the surrounding ice energy condensed around her to form a defense. However, the ice continued to shatter. Xueqi also kept retreating. Lin Xian's figure flashed and arrived beside him. Zhang Xian flicked his sleeves, and the heaven-devouring jar flew out. A black vortex emerged from it, blotting out the sky. It blocked the other party's supreme being aura. Boom. The collision between the two was extremely terrifying. This was a true apex weapon. After those people in the distance saw this, they cried out in alarm. They had indeed felt the power of the extreme Tao. "I'm afraid it's impossible for you to fight against me with just a supreme weapon." Lin Xian smirked after blocking the opponent's supreme weapon. "What do you plan to do next? Let's work together." The king of earth took a step forward. Even though he was confident in his supreme weapon, if the other party had an extreme weapon, there was nothing he could do. However, with their lineup and trump cards, they could definitely kill the other party. The king of sanguinity also walked over. The long saber was broken, but the murderous aura on his body became even more shocking. "Kid, I'm going to use your blood as a sacrifice to my saber." An endless sea of blood appeared in his hand, sweeping through the 9 heavens. On the other side, the king of earth took out his warhammer. The other Double Crown champions also formed seals with their palms. They were in charge of long-range attacks. Boom. Kill. With a roar, the sea of blood that filled the sky surged. Terrifying murderous aura swept through the 9 provinces. At this moment, Everyone felt their scalps go numb. On the other side, the King of Earth also made his move. The two Triple Crown champions charged over together. There were countless arrays around them that covered the sky and earth. Lin Xian also snorted coldly. His expression was incomparably solemn. He split the sky with one hand and condensed a long sword with the other, sweeping it in all directions. He wanted to fight against the two Triple Crown champions with his own strength. Earth-shattering sounds could be heard. The two fought earth-shattering. Lin Xian's body and the inheritance of the demon emperor were displayed to the extreme. All kinds of demonic auras swept through the 9 heavens. What? He actually blocked it? This was impossible. The spectators were shocked. Even the two Triple Crown champions' expressions were incomparably ugly. The two of them combined were enough to sweep everything away. But now they couldn't do anything to the other party. Damn it, I don't believe it. Bloodlord's saber technique. With a furious roar, the king of sanguinity's laws condensed on his body, transforming into a blood saber that slashed out. It transformed into a saber. It was extremely terrifying. The power of this saber was even more terrifying than before. Lin Xian roared angrily and slashed out with his sword. The two collided and retreated. At this moment, the King of Earth charged over again. Endless power surged from his body. The endless earth was under his control, enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian's qi and blood were surging. Although the god of 9 suns was terrifying, the two of them were even more terrifying when they joined forces. His qi and blood were surging, and his face became somewhat pale. Humph! With a cold snort, the Rinnegan was instantly activated. The King of Earth also screamed and was pushed back. He gritted his teeth. Defend the soul. The surrounding people carefully defended themselves. Then the battle began again. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 moves had passed. They were actually evenly matched. It was hard to believe. One had to know that the lineup this time far exceeded everything. It was enough to kill anyone below the Quasi-Emperor realm. But now they couldn't do anything to Lin Xian. The surrounding people were also shocked. Could it be that they were going to return empty-handed today? It seemed that even the Taichu ancient tomb couldn't do anything. The King of Blood Fiend gritted his teeth. I really underestimated you. However, we still have trump cards. What? Trump cards? Those people from the sacred grounds exclaimed. Could it be a second supreme weapon? If that was the case, Lin Xian was really in danger. Even Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. 2 sovereign weapons had indeed exceeded his expectations. However, was there really 2 supreme weapons in the Taichu ancient land? Everyone's eyes were all on the King of Blood Fiend. The King of Blood Fiend sneered. The next moment, he took out a treasure box. It was a blood-red box. Bloody light surrounded it, and it was extremely terrifying. It had a monstrous killing intent. It made people feel like their soul was about to split open. He also took a deep breath and was incomparably respectful. He also slowly opened it. There were a few drops of blood flying inside. What was this? Could it be the blood of a great emperor? It couldn't be, right? We can't withstand the blood of a great emperor. But even if it wasn't the blood of a great emperor, it was still extremely terrifying. One drop could penetrate any expert. I feel that only a true quasi-emperor would be able to contend against it. I wonder what this Lin Wuti is going to do. Seeing this scene, the King of Earth smiled. He controlled the supreme weapon to block the heaven-swallowing jar with all his might. This kid doesn't have the supreme weapon. Let's see how you block it. The King of Blood Fiend said, Lin Wuti, I know you're powerful, but these 9 drops of blood were condensed by the heaven-connecting spiritual jade and formed the all-transformations blood. They were refined by fusing the bloodlines of countless experts. It's not something you can contend against. Chapter 5579. The drops of 10,000 transformations blood flew up in the air and flew toward Lin Xian. Boom, boom. They were like 9 blood-red suns, and they revolved around him. Lad, you can die peacefully. Both of you will turn into a puddle of blood under this power, and you will cease to exist. Run away quickly. The people who were watching the battle from afar also started to run away quickly. This was because some people's bodies had already split open and turned into blood. This power was too terrifying, and it made their scalps go numb. This was enough to show how terrifying the 10,000 transformations blood was. Xue Qi's body swayed, and she could feel the ice on her body melting quickly. Even Lin Xian furrowed his brows tightly. 10,000 transformation snow. This sky's spiritual jade was really strange. He also felt the blood in his body rumble, and it seemed like it was about to melt. He snorted coldly, and sword energy surged out of his body, and he slashed his surroundings to cut off this terrifying melting power. However, the 9 drops of 10,000 transformations blood were too terrifying, and they were scattered. Lin Xian couldn't destroy them all with a single sword strike. Lad, it's useless. The king of blood massacre sneered coldly. Before coming here, Lord Spirit Jade had already said that even a true boundary emperor would have to run away when facing this attack. It would be extremely difficult to dissolve it, let alone someone like you. You're just a Saint Lord, and you're even stronger than ordinary Triple Crown winners. However, you're still far from a true boundary emperor. So, this time, I want to see how you'll die. As he spoke, the 9 drops of 10,000 transformations blood in the sky started to condense and take shape. They charged forward, and each drop of blood seemed to have turned into a sword that pierced through the 9 heavens. The aura they carried was too terrifying. At this moment, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. It was as if the Azura Hell had reappeared. Xue Qi quickly retreated. Lin Xian's expression turned cold, and he came to Xue Qi's side and said, "Use your 9 yin body with all your strength." Xue Qi was taken aback, and she nodded. She knew what Lin Xian wanted to do. This was why she used her 9 yin body with all her strength. She seemed to have turned into a god of ice, and a torrent of ice and snow rose up in the glacier. It was useless. There was no way to freeze it. Lin Xian ignored him. He also unleashed the terrifying 9 yang divine body. Half of his body turned into flames that engulfed the surroundings. Do you still want to burn? It's useless. You're no match for me. The blood of all transformations was enough to resolve everything. The 10,000 transformations blood in the sky shone brightly, dissolving the ice and flames. The people from the Holy Land shook their heads and sighed. Was Lin Wudi out of ideas? Even though the 2 godly bodies were terrifying, they were still helpless against the all transformations blood. However, Lin Xian's expression was incomparably cold. He asked coldly, 9 yin and 9 yang, which one was weaker, and which one was stronger? Xue Qi's expression became grave as she spoke. She then said, Yin and Yang will fuse, and he will become the ruler of the world. At this moment, the ice and flames on their bodies actually fused together. With the 2 of them as the center, the terrifying ice and flames spun rapidly. It formed a flame diagram. Kill. The 2 of them joined forces and rushed over. Not good. What kind of power is this? The King of Earth's face changed when he felt this power. He said, "Don't waste any more time. Kill them quickly." The King of Blood Evil's pupils contracted as well. With a roar, the blood of all transformations blood rushed down. It turned into 9 blood-colored spears that could pierce through everything. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, the entire sky of the true spirit world was shattered. Countless living beings prostrated themselves on the ground. Some experts from the Holy Land fainted from the shock. They were still very far away. If they were close, they would have turned into blood mist under the residual power of this energy. He wondered if Lin Wuti would be able to withstand it. Some people were worried. There were also some living fossils that were shocked beyond words. 9 Yin and 9 Yang. Heavens, this was an ancient legend. Could they really do it? Elder, what's this? The young disciple asked. The elders shook their heads. Let's wait for the results of the battle. They didn't dare to make a conclusion so easily. They could only watch from afar. The land of the glacier had completely turned into nothingness. It was extremely terrifying. I don't believe that you can break through the blood of all transformations' blood. The king of blood, Evil, roared crazily. However, there was no smile on his face. That was because he was under immense pressure. 9 transformations' blood, of all transformations' blood, were blocked. The power of 9 Yin and 9 Yang in front of him turned into a flame diagram. It spun like a Tai Chi diagram. Another super strong force, 9 Yin and 9 Yang, exploded once again. The transformation's blood was completely covered at this moment. No, the king of blood, Evil, was completely stunned. His pupils shrank. He couldn't believe it. This was the blood of all transformations' blood. It was something that even a boundary emperor didn't dare to go against. Could the other party withstand it? And it looked like he was going to break it. Damn it, I don't believe it. Transformations' blood fused. 9 transformations' blood, of all transformations' blood, fused quickly and formed a blood-colored spear. The king of blood, Evil, held the spear in his hand. Kill. He waved the spear, and an ear-piercing sound came from it. It sounded like thousands of resentful spirits were roaring. It couldn't be helped. The blood of all transformations had melted the blood of countless experts. Naturally, it had endless resentment and killing intent. After this attack, everyone felt that hell had descended. Husband, Xue Qi shouted angrily. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. They fused their palms together. They interlocked their fingers with one hand and slapped forward with the other hand. The power of 9 Yin and 9 Yang was fused by them at this moment to launch an attack. The blood-colored spear was covered by it, and countless cracks appeared on it. Then it was shattered. The transformation's blood turned into ashes at this moment. No, the king of blood, Evil, was completely stunned. What kind of power is this? He couldn't understand it. He turned around and tried to escape. However, his soul was destroyed by this palm. Puff, the king of earth, and the other double crown emperors were also sent flying by this energy. With this attack, the entire glacier was destroyed. The violent explosion lasted for a long time before it gradually disappeared. The power of 9 Yin and 9 Yang dissipated. Lin Xian and Xue Qi stood in the void and looked down. The experts of the other holy lands in the true spirit world were also shocked. When they saw the scene, they couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Was this really caused by 2 youngsters? This attack was definitely not a stupid one. Xue Qi, who was in the sky, was also surprised. Was this his attack? It was too powerful. It surpassed his power by more than 10 times. It was the power of 9 Yin and 9 Yang. Xue Qi was surprised. There was an ancient legend that if 2 powers fused together, their might would increase by 10 times. The Holy Land's living fossils sighed with emotion. There was a saying in ancient times that once the 9 Yin and 9 Yang powers fused together, one could become an emperor. No one could rival them. They were so powerful. The Holy Land's youngsters were dumbfounded. At this moment, they looked into the distance with envy. This was a power that surpassed the Saint Realm. Chapter 5580. You actually killed the king of bloody massacre. The king of earth trembled in fear as he looked at the scene in front of him. The The faces of the other Double Crown champions turned pale. Just now, they had been hit by the remnant energy, but they had already suffered heavy injuries. If they had been hit head-on, their fate would have been similar to the Triple Crown champions. They had been defeated. They had brought so many people with them, but they had still been defeated. Let's go quickly. The King of Earth led the remaining survivors and fled quickly. Lin Xian snorted coldly. They still wanted to leave? Demon God Seal. He attacked, and a huge black seal descended from the sky. The King of Earth roared and tried to defend himself, but he was still sent flying. As for the other Double Crown champions, their bodies were torn into pieces. The King of Earth vomited blood, and he quickly recalled his supreme weapon to defend himself. The stone cauldron enveloped them, and they wanted to escape. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and he controlled the heaven-swallowing jar to descend. The heaven-swallowing jar landed on the cauldron, and the supreme weapon shook violently. With a loud boom, the people inside were blasted into pieces. Soul extinguisher. Lin Xian roared again, and the heaven-swallowing jar shot out a beam of black light, which flew into the cauldron. The cauldron flew away, and Lin Xian recalled the heaven-swallowing jar. Isn't husband going to chase after them? Xueqi asked. What if they called for reinforcements? Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, the people inside were already dead. Really? Xueqi was delighted. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and left with Xueqi. Not long after, a crazy roar came from the land of absolute beginning. Lin Wuti, no matter where you run to, I will catch you. I will make you suffer a fate worse than death. This voice was filled with boundless killing intent, and it caused the whole world to shake violently. The people in the quintessential world were shocked. It seemed that the people who had escaped were also killed. 2 Triple Crown champions, 4 Double Crown champions. Not a single one of them had managed to leave alive. It seemed that they couldn't offend Lin Wuti. The true spirit world set off a huge storm as legends about Lin Xian spread everywhere. Meanwhile, Lin Xian had already returned to buried earth. He had returned to the Divine Union. The members of the Divine Union were also waiting. They heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Lin Xian return. Older brother Xian, that's great, you're back. Murong Qingcheng also walked over. When he saw the blue-clothed woman beside Lin Xian, he asked, You must be Sister Xueqi, right? The blue-clothed woman also mentioned Miss Seductress. The 2 sides met and got to know each other. The people of the Divine Union cheered as they waited for them to obtain the true spirit and see what was happening in the world. He was shocked again. The Crimson Dragon gritted its teeth. This Tai Chu ancient emperor sure was despicable. The Toad also said that the Devouring Shadow Clan was so strange that they could control so many families and sections. Who knew how many people would be controlled in the end? Bai Susu was indeed shocked. Were the 9 Yin and 9 Yang really so terrifying? Lin Xian asked about what had happened recently. The Golden Crow tribe had also been controlled in the few days he had been away. The Toad said the Golden Crow tribe deserves it for going against us. Now, they are in trouble. Kid, you mustn't save them. Lin Xian nodded as well. He wouldn't be able to save everyone. He wouldn't care about the Golden Crow tribe. The Golden Crow tribe should be finished. The Golden Crow tribe had indeed been controlled. Only a small number of people had escaped. These people gritted their teeth. How despicable! They were the dignified 10,000 ancient tribes and the legendary mutated beasts of heaven and earth. How could they have ended up like this? They were in despair at the thought of this. The other ancient families also sighed. They knew that it wouldn't be long before they would end up like the Golden Crow tribe. No one knew who could stop them. Now, only the Emperor clan's extreme Tao weapon could stop them. Therefore, they all joined the various Emperor clans to seek protection. Many of them were even willing to join the Divine Union. Lin Xian had asked by Susu and the others to make a strict selection. Not every family was qualified to enter. A year's time was almost up. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. Now more and more information was being sent to him. There were new changes every day. It wasn't just Burial Earthstar. The quintessential world, the myriad realms, and the universe were all experiencing new changes. And on this day, an earth-shattering news came. A moon in the universe was originally a planet. However, on this day, it suddenly turned into a jade rabbit. It directly jumped out of the universe. Every step it took shattered the void. The aura it carried made one's scalp tingle. It even carried a trace of Emperor's might. When this news spread to Burial Earthstar, the people on Burial Earthstar went crazy. The moon had turned into a jade rabbit. Furthermore, it was an extremely terrifying ancient powerhouse. There was actually such a powerhouse hidden around them. Even Lin Xian and the others were dumbfounded. They didn't know what more miraculous things would happen. Now, even if the stone under their feet turned into a powerhouse, these people would probably be able to accept it. Half a month later, another shocking piece of news came. One of the suns in the universe grew wings and turned into a golden crow. Vast flames engulfed the universe. The surrounding endless worlds were shattered. What? A sun turning into a golden crow? Wasn't this something that only existed in legends and myths? Had it really appeared? This wasn't an ordinary golden crow. It carried an emperor's might. Could it be a great emperor? Even if it wasn't, it should be a great emperor. There were countless discussions. Everyone went crazy. First, it was a jade rabbit. Now, it was a golden crow. What would happen next? 3 days later, the entire Burial Earthstar was in an uproar. Everyone looked up at the sky. The 9 heavens had turned into a sea of flames. There was actually an additional sun on their side. No, it wasn't a sun. It was a golden crow. The golden crow from before had actually come to Burial Earthstar. Could it be the patriarch of the Golden Crow clan? Had he come back to find the Golden Crow clan? Some people gasped. Lin Xian raised his head to look at the sky. His brows were tightly knitted together as he stared at the dazzling sunlight. He cultivated the 9 yang divine body so he could sense it more clearly than others. It was indeed the power of the sun. Moreover, it was extremely terrifying. It was a great emperor. It seemed that the Golden Crow clan was not done yet. Murong Qingcheng, who was next to him, also sighed. As expected, the Golden Crow patriarch had returned to find his clan. When he found out that they were controlled by the Devouring Shadow clan, he was instantly furious. He launched an attack. A great emperor attacked. No matter how strong the Devouring Shadow clan was, they were beaten back. In the end, they took the initiative to beg for mercy. They released the control of the Golden Crow clan and even went to apologize and sent many of their clan's treasures. Only then did the Golden Crow patriarch's anger gradually calm down. The people of the Golden Crow clan were stunned. They originally thought that they would be in despair and become puppets for the rest of their lives. Who would have thought that happiness would come so suddenly? Their Golden Crow clan's patriarch had actually appeared. Chapter 5581. The Awakening of the Golden Crow Ancestor. It shocked the entire Burial Earthstar and even spread to the other worlds. After all, even now, a quasi-emperor was a supreme existence. It was something that countless saints would look up to. After the initial shock, the people of the Golden Crow clan were overjoyed. Great. Greetings, ancestor. They knelt on the ground. They knew that they were going to soar. The existence of a quasi-emperor was comparable to the emperor clan. It was definitely far better than before. Didn't they see that the arrogant Shuring clan had personally come to apologize? In fact, they even gave him an endless amount of natural treasures as compensation. When the other ancient families and great sects saw this scene, they were incomparably envious. The Golden Crow clan was really lucky. Do we have any slumbering ancestors in our family? Such a voice sounded in every clan and sect. However, those sect leaders shook their heads and sighed. It was easier said than done. Such a thing could not happen in every clan. The Golden Crow clan was an ancient beast. That was why there was such a quasi-emperor ancestor. The residents of the Golden Crow clan had been destroyed in the battle, but it had long been restored. On the contrary, they had obtained more treasures than before. In one of the great halls, a man was sitting. He was sitting on a throne. Below him were countless experts of the Golden Crow clan, including Elder Zhang and the geniuses. They looked forward with incomparable excitement. Greetings, ancestor. The person sitting in front was the quasi-emperor of the Golden Crow clan. Let's talk about the recent events. The Golden Crow ancestor had just woken up and wanted to know the news of this world. The Golden Crow clan leader roughly told him what had happened in the past 100 years. When he mentioned Lin Wudi, he gritted his teeth. The others also said that Lin Wudi was too despicable. He had killed many of our geniuses and experts. If it weren't for him, we would be much stronger than we are now. Lin Wudi, the Golden Crow ancestor, snorted coldly. How dare he call himself invincible? Don't worry, I will kill him. No one can challenge our Golden Crow clan, especially after I returned. Ancestor, be careful. Lin Wudi is not simple. He is now the Triple Crown King and can kill the Triple Crown King. He also has an extreme weapon in his hand, so it won't be easy to kill him. Humph. So what if he's a Triple Crown champion? You guys don't understand the strength of a half-emperor or Zun emperor. He's at least a 5-crown king, so I far surpassed him. There was actually such a thing? The expert of the Golden Crow race gasped. Then they were overjoyed. The difference between a Triple Crown champion and a Quintuple Crown champion was just too great. In other words, Lin Wudi would undoubtedly die if he encountered a quasi-emperor. However, they were still a little worried about the extreme weapons. The Golden Crow patriarch squinted his eyes. A Triple Crown champion actually had an extreme weapon and was not from a great emperor clan. He was really lucky. However, his luck had come to an end. Since I'm looking for a suitable weapon, I'll have him kneel down and offer it to me. Great, the old ancestor was going to make a move on Lin Wudi. This hatred could finally be avenged. The Golden Crows were overjoyed. The Golden Crow patriarch said, "There's no hurry. Inform the world first, and let them come and pay me a visit." As a quasi-emperor, he needed countless clans and sects to submit to him after coming to this world. The Golden Crow patriarch said, "Patriarch, don't worry, we will handle this matter." Soon, the Golden Crow race sent out invitations, inviting the experts and clans of the Tibetan Star, and even other worlds to come over for a gathering. Even the clans of the martial monarchs received the same invitation. The people of the Yi family frowned. It seemed that the Golden Crow patriarch wanted to show off his strength. The people of the Gu family snorted coldly. What was there to be arrogant about? Wasn't it just a quasi-emperor? Although that was the case, they were still incomparably envious, because so far their great emperor clan had not produced a quasi-emperor. In fact, there were very few quasi-emperors in the myriad worlds. Previously, there were 2 quasi-emperors, and then 1 or 2 appeared in the forbidden land of life. Therefore, the number of quasi-emperors now could be counted on one hand. Of course, they were supreme existences. For a time, those clans and sects headed to the Golden Crow race. Half a month later, those clans and sects all rushed over. Even the people of the Emperor clan came. The Golden Crow race became incomparably lively. The people of the Golden Crow race were receiving these people. Each of them held their heads high, with insufferably arrogance. Those who came did not dare to be angry. After all, there was a real quasi-emperor in front of them. Once a quasi-emperor was angry, he could definitely sweep through everything. After all, after the other party came, the Shadow Devourer clan directly surrendered. One could imagine how shocking this was. There were even rumors that a living quasi-emperor was even more terrifying than an extreme weapon. After all, every time an extreme weapon erupted, it required endless power. Even the Emperor clan could not withstand this power, so they could only passively defend. But quasi-emperors were different, especially those who were alive. A casual strike could cause earth-shattering power. Moreover, if a quasi-emperor wanted to deal with someone, that person would definitely go to hell. This was also why even the Emperor clan was shocked. After all, it was very difficult for them to kill a quasi-emperor. If they failed in one strike, they would be in big trouble. This time, the Golden Crow race's ostentation was very grand. It seemed that it was not a banquet, but to let these people come to pay their respects. The people of the Emperor clan were very dissatisfied. Their faces were dark. However, the other clans and sects were discussing animatedly. Many of them decided to join the Golden Crow race. They sought protection. After all, having a quasi-emperor as a guardian was really too important when the world was changing. No one knew what other 10,000 Archean races would appear. The Jade Man and the Devouring Shadow race were already a headache for them. If another quasi-emperor jumped out from the 10,000 Archean races, they really would not be able to resist. The banquet began. Everyone took their seats. The Golden Crow quasi-emperor walked over. His body carried a vast sun, and flames swept in all directions. Everyone's expressions were tense. They felt that this quasi-emperor was really too terrifying. The Heavenly Saber sect pays their respects to the Golden Crow ancestor. The Earth Fiend sect pays their respects to the Golden Crow ancestor. The Divine Fire sect pays their respects to the Golden Crow ancestor. One after another, the clans and sects came to pay their respects. The only ones who were still sitting were the few Emperor clans. Their faces became even gloomier. The Golden Crow ancestor sat there and waved his hand. "Don't worry, as long as you become my disciples, I will guarantee your safety. Thank you, Golden Crow ancestor." The powerhouses of these clans were incomparably happy. The Golden Crow ancestor's gaze swept across the Emperor clans. Those Emperor clans felt the power of the sun descend, causing their bodies to stiffen. Damn it, the other party actually dared to show off his strength. With a cold snort, the bloodline of the old phoenix erupted, and a phoenix phantom swept out. A low rumble sounded. The old phoenix stood up and said, "I wonder why the Golden Crow ancestor has asked us to come? If not, we will take our leave." The people of the phoenix race all stood up. Chapter 5582. The Phoenix tribe wanted to leave. The surrounding people were shocked when they saw this scene. However, they soon understood that was indeed the case. The Phoenix tribe was an emperor tribe. Now, the Golden Crow tribe was so arrogant that they did not take the emperor tribe seriously. How could the Phoenix tribe be willing to accept this? Furthermore, the Phoenix tribe was on the Divine Union's side. Lin Xian and the Golden Crow tribe did not have a good relationship. Therefore, the other party had already given them face by coming. It was normal for them to want to leave now. When they saw this scene, the eyes of the other Emperor tribe members also flickered. To be honest, they did not want to stay here either. After all, they were high and mighty in other places. However, they were not valued here. Everyone's expression was gloomy. "You want to leave?" The Golden Crow ancestor looked over and snorted coldly. The flames of the sun on his body kept erupting as if thousands of suns were sweeping forward. The expressions of the Phoenix tribe members changed as they shouted angrily. One after another, Phoenix phantoms soared into the sky. The two collided, tearing the void apart. "Sit down." The Golden Crow ancestor stretched out his hand. Golden claws covered the sky and directly arrived above the Golden Crow tribe. He waved it forcefully. The Golden Crow tribe members felt as if they were being suppressed by 100,000 mountains. Their bodies trembled as they sat down on their seats. It was not that they wanted to sit down, but they were suppressed by this force and could not stand up. Damn it. The Phoenix tribe leader, the old Phoenix, and the others gritted their teeth as their faces turned pale. However, that quasi-emperor power was really too terrifying. They could not resist at all. The others all sucked in a breath of cold air. Even the people from the emperor clan's pupils shrunk. One person suppressed the emperor tribe. Was this the power of the Golden Crow ancestor? He was too powerful. The Golden Crow tribe leader sneered when he saw this scene. Humph! Everyone who still wants to leave. He looked around and said coldly. For a moment, the surroundings were silent. No one dared to mention this matter again. The Golden Crow ancestor retracted his hand and said coldly, If you give me face, you will be fine. If anyone dares to not give me face, I will send them to hell. His voice was extremely cold and carried a terrifying killing intent that made one's scalp go numb. Even the Emperor tribe members fell silent when they saw that the surrounding people were afraid. The corners of the Golden Crow patriarch's mouth curled up into a smile. Very good. This was the kind of absolute suppression he wanted. So what if they were from the Emperor clan without the age of a great emperor? It was enough to suppress everything. By the way, I heard that there was a genius called Lin Woody recently. Where is he? Let me see who it is that is so arrogant, daring to call himself invincible. The Golden Crow patriarch spoke again after suppressing the Phoenix clan. The others sucked in a breath of cold air. It was here. Sure enough, the Golden Crow clan would not let Lin Woody off. These people turned their heads to look at Lin Woody. However, they soon found that Lin Woody was nowhere to be seen. That guy didn't come. The Golden Crows were also searching. However, after searching for a while, their faces darkened. That brat didn't come? When the Golden Crow patriarch learned of the situation, he was also infuriated. He had invited everyone to a banquet, but someone didn't turn up. Was this not giving him face? He had just woken up, and there was already someone who didn't give him face. Moreover, it was a young man. He snorted coldly. How arrogant. You don't even want to come to my banquet. How arrogant. Someone go and inform him again. Tell him that I'll give him 1 day. If he doesn't come after 1 day, I'll make the divine union disappear. Also, tell him not to think that he can be arrogant just because he has an emperor weapon. I can also borrow one. Yes, patriarch. The 2 Golden Crow clan elites soared into the sky and flew into the distance. The others were also shocked. It seemed that Lin Woody only had 2 paths to take this time. He could either bow his head or start a war with the Boundary Emperor. Although Lin Woody had defeated many elites previously, including the Double Crown King, and even Long Mu, those Boundary Emperors weren't Boundary Emperors. A Boundary Emperor was a real Boundary Emperor. A true Boundary Emperor was too terrifying, especially the Golden Crow old ancestor, who really had a way to borrow an emperor weapon. After all, Lin Xian had more than one enemy. Lin Xian had offended too many clans previously. However, the other party was too strong, and no one could suppress him. Therefore, no one dared to make an enemy out of him. However, if a Boundary Emperor appeared, those enemies might secretly help him. Therefore, how would Lin Woody choose? They were all very curious. The 2 Golden Crow clan elites soared into the sky and headed towards Holy Abyss Ancient City. They flew through the sky, bringing with them endless flames. Finally, they arrived at Holy Abyss Ancient City. Looking at the Divine Union's building below, one of them shouted loudly, "Lin Woody, where are you? Come out." His voice was like thunder, spreading in all directions. In the ancient city, countless people looked up at the sky. Heavens, who dared to scold Lin Woody? Was this a challenge to the Divine Union? Who would be so daring as to act recklessly? Countless exclamations were heard. They looked up at the sky and were stunned when they saw the two Golden Crow clan elites. They were also stunned. It was the Golden Crow clan. Not good. It was said that a boundary emperor of the Golden Crow clan had revived and was sweeping across the region. Why was the Golden Crow clan looking for Lin Wuti now? It couldn't be. Didn't the Golden Crow clan invite everyone to a banquet? Lin Wuti didn't go. It was over. This time, he had offended a boundary emperor. The people of the Divine Union also raised their heads and frowned. What was the Golden Crow clan doing here? Toad and the others instantly soared into the sky. How dare you come here and behave atrociously? Are you tired of living? The Golden Crow man sneered. Humph! I think you guys are the ones who are tired of living. Our patriarch invited everyone to a banquet. How dare you not go? What crime should you commit? The other woman also sneered and told Lin Wuti that our patriarch only gave him 1 day. If he still didn't go after 1 day, our patriarch would personally take action and raze the Divine Union to the ground. After saying that, the two of them soared into the sky and left. After all, they had only come to inform Lin Wuti. In their opinion, Lin Wuti would definitely come obediently after receiving this final order. How arrogant! They even wanted to raze the Divine Union to the ground. The Crimson Dragon also gritted his teeth. After they returned, they told Bai Susu and the others what had happened. Bai Susu and the others were shocked. Xue Qi, Murong Qingcheng, and the others also frowned. Should they tell Big Brother Xian? It was better to say it. After all, this was a true boundary emperor. They had also felt the might of a boundary emperor. It was absolutely terrifying. Therefore, they went to find Lin Xian. When Lin Xian heard this, he also narrowed his eyes. The toad said, Kid, don't go. If you have the ability, then let him do it. We will use an extreme weapon to kill him. Bai Susu frowned. No, didn't you hear? The Golden Crow Patriarch could borrow an extreme weapon. Moreover, our enemies weren't just limited to the Golden Crow clan. Those people had hidden themselves and didn't make a move. This didn't mean that they wouldn't make a move at the critical moment. For example, the Z Mansion had been very strange recently. Husband, what should we do? Xue Qi also asked. Lin Xian thought for a moment and said, Give me half a day. He thought of a way that didn't require much effort. Chapter 5583. Looking at Lin Xian's back as he left Murong Qingcheng, and the others were also puzzled. That shouldn't be the case. Brother Xian actually didn't take the initiative to fight this time? Why was it because? Could it be because the other party was a quasi-emperor? Or was there something else he was worried about? They didn't know. After Lin Xian left, he asked DeLong, are there any poisonous fruits in the sword world? The current sword world was very mysterious. Previously, Lin Xian had eaten a fruit, and his strength had increased by a lot. Then he found another snowflake and was able to lock onto Xue Qi's position. This meant that the things taken out from the sword world far surpassed those of burial earth and true spirit world. Therefore, Lin Xian immediately thought of something. There was no need to directly attack the Golden Crow Emperor. This quasi-emperor was so arrogant that he wanted him to submit. Why not take this opportunity? He might be able to severely injure him. He wanted to see if the other party would still dare to be arrogant at that time. DeLong said, There is, but I don't know if it has recovered. Go and take a look. DeLong gave Lin Xian 3 pieces of information. They were 3 types of fruits that even a quasi-emperor would be poisoned if they ate them. At the very least, they would be severely injured. If they were unlucky, they might even die. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. That's right, that's what I want. With these 3 pieces of information, Lin Xian once again entered the sword world. He went to those unknown areas and began to search. The first 2 types were not there, so there was only one type of illusion fruit left. If there was none, then there was nothing he could do. In that case, he could only fight. But at this time, his eyes lit up. He found it. In front of a small mountain, Lin Xian saw a fruit. It was crystal clear and incomparably dreamy, like an immortal fruit. Damn, kid, what are you looking for? The hellfire dragon's soul flew over. Seeing this immortal fruit, he wanted to rush up and swallow it. However, Lin Xian said, "This is the poisonous fruit I prepared for the Quasi-Emperor. If you want to die, then eat it." What? The hellfire dragon immediately stopped and quickly shook his head. I don't need it. From the looks of it, he also knew how powerful the sword world was. Maybe he had also suffered a loss here. Therefore, he was very careful. Lin Xian walked forward and took out a treasure box that was completely made of divine crystals. Lin Fan carefully placed the fantasy fruit inside. This fruit was called the fantasy fruit. It looked extremely mysterious, but it contained a deadly poison. Moreover, there was no such thing outside, only in the sword world. Therefore, the Golden Crow Patriarch would never know that it was a poisonous fruit. Very good, Golden Crow clan. Let's see how arrogant you can be at that time. Lin Xian's lips curled up as he walked out. When he came out, he was in a very good mood. He was even humming a tune. On the other hand, Bai Susu and the others were feeling rather gloomy. They had already begun gathering their strength to restore their supreme weapons. When Lin Xian arrived, they were stunned. "Why are you so happy? Could it be that you've thought of something?" "Of course." Lin Xian laughed. Then he looked at these people and said, "What are you guys busy with?" Bai Susu said snappily. He was still preparing to activate his supreme weapon. Lin Xian said, "There's no need to go through so much trouble. This time, I don't need to use the supreme weapon at all. I already have a way." "What way?" these people asked. Morong Qingcheng, Xueqi, and the others were also curious. However, Lin Xian said, "Of course it was to give him a gift. Didn't he want to invite the world to a banquet? Let's go to the banquet and give him a big gift." What? These people were all stunned. The Crimson Dragon also jumped up. "Damn, kid, you can't be afraid, right?" They also said that this was impossible. With her temper, how could she possibly submit to him? Submit? Afraid? Lin Xian shook his head. "Do you think it's possible? This super big gift would definitely make him suffer the consequences." Lin Xian snorted coldly. The surrounding people were stunned. Then they laughed. "Looks like you already have a way." The Crimson Dragon said, "Although I don't know what it is, I want to go and take a look." The Toad said, "Count me in." This time, Lin Xian brought the Crimson Dragon, the Toad, and the others on the road. Morong Qingcheng, Xueqi, and Bai Susu were in charge of guarding this place to prevent others from sneaking up on them. A stream of light streaked across the sky and flew into the distance, disappearing. On the other side, the people of the Golden Crow race were waiting patiently. There's only one day left. Do you think Lin Wuti will come? What a joke. He's Lin Wuti. Have you seen him bow down to anyone? Didn't the 10,000 Dragons Empire and Zifu get beaten up badly by him? This time, I think he definitely won't come. That's true. Everyone nodded. With Lin Wuti's temper, it was already good enough that he didn't come knocking on their door with his supreme weapon. Bow down? What a joke. However, it wasn't going to be easy this time. The Golden Crow Patriarch was a quasi-emperor. The last time a quasi-emperor came, it was Lin Xian who came out and restrained him. Otherwise, Lin Wuti would have died at that time. This time, who could help Lin Wuti? If no quasi-emperor appeared, Lin Wuti would definitely not be able to stop them. Everyone was discussing. Suddenly, a loud shout came from afar. Lin Wuti of the Divine Union had arrived. The voice pierced through the 9 heavens and traveled toward the main hall. Everyone in the main hall was discussing. What did they hear? Lin Wuti was here. These people stood up one after another. The people of the Golden Crow race were also stunned. They instantly became nervous. Lin Wudy wouldn't come knocking on their door, right? They had fought Lin Xian many times and naturally knew Lin Xian's temper. Therefore, they were very nervous. Patriarch, you have to be careful. That kid is very arrogant. The Golden Crow Patriarch snorted coldly. I'm here. If he dares to attack, don't panic. Let him in. All right. The Golden Crow Patriarch had no choice but to act according to the Patriarch's instructions. Soon, the mountain gate opened and the array flickered. A few figures walked in. The people of the surrounding families and sects all widened their eyes and looked into the distance. Was Lin Wudy here? When they saw Lin Wudy, the toad, and the dark red divine flame, they were all stunned. It was really the divine union, and only 3 people had come. It shouldn't be a war, right? Lin Wudy was still smiling. There was no murderous intent on his body. It didn't look like he was here to fight. Everyone was very puzzled, even the Phoenix race, and the Yi family didn't understand. What was Lin Xian doing here? Was he really here to submit? They didn't quite believe it. The Golden Crow Patriarch shouted coldly, Lin Wudy, what are you doing here? Lin Xian smiled. You sent an invitation and specially asked someone to inform me. What do you think I'm doing here? I'm naturally here to attend the banquet. What? When these words came out, everyone was stunned. Even the Golden Crow Patriarch was dumbfounded. He was here to attend the banquet? Why did it sound like a dream? Chapter 5584. Lin Xian's words stunned everyone. They even suspected if this was really Lin Xian himself. Even the Golden Crow Patriarch frowned and snorted coldly. Kid, are you really here to attend the banquet? Lin Xian smiled. Why don't you believe me? Look, I've already prepared a gift. As he spoke, Lin Xian waved his hand and took out a treasure box. The treasure box was rectangular and made of divine crystals. It was surrounded by multicolored light and was obviously not an ordinary item. Lin Xian opened the treasure box, and a dreamy light was emitted from it. At this moment, countless people looked over. Even those from the Emperor race were shocked. What a terrifying spirit fruit. The people of the Golden Crow race were also shocked and stunned. The Golden Crow Patriarch was originally sneering, but when he saw the dream fruit, he gasped. As a quasi-emperor, he was shocked when he saw this spirit fruit. Go, bring it over. The Golden Crow Patriarch spoke. The Golden Crow Patriarch hurried over and came to Lin Xian's side. Kid, don't play any tricks. Lin Xian smiled. Your patriarch is a quasi-emperor. Are you afraid of me? Let me check and you'll know. Lin Xian handed over the dream fruit. The Golden Crow Patriarch held the dream fruit with both hands and walked to the Golden Crow Patriarch. Patriarch, please take a look. He was extremely respectful. The Golden Crow Patriarch grabbed it, and an extremely terrifying flame burst out from his eyes. It was as if he had turned into 2 suns that rotated between heaven and earth. At this moment, everyone felt their hair stand on end. Is Lin Wudy really so kind to give him a spirit fruit? Could it be some poison? Countless people guessed so, but they felt that it shouldn't be. Lin Xian wouldn't be so stupid. It was really too difficult to deceive a quasi-emperor. At this moment, the Golden Crow Patriarch laughed loudly. Ha ha, good, it's indeed a spirit fruit. Lin Wudy, you're very sensible. As long as you obediently submit to me, I'll guarantee you a meteoric rise and wealth for the rest of your life. She was very happy. In his opinion, Lin Wudy was powerful, but didn't he have to lower his head in front of him? He didn't think that this little ant before him would dare to scheme against him. Lin Xian smiled as well. Of course, the Golden Crow Patriarch had boundless divine fire. Becoming a great emperor in the future would be a piece of cake. Hearing this, the Golden Crow Patriarch laughed proudly. The people of the Golden Crow clan also laughed. Wasn't Lin Wudy very arrogant? But now, he still lowered his head in front of them. The others also shook their heads and sighed. Was Lin Woody really afraid? Who would be able to stop the Golden Crow clan in the future? Congratulations to the Golden Crow Patriarch for obtaining the divine fruit. A series of congratulatory voices could be heard. Lin Xian sneered in his heart. Old thing, just you wait. There will be a good show to watch soon. Even a quasi-emperor would be severely injured if they ate the illusion fruit. They might even die. He was looking forward to seeing that scene. Someone prepare a seat for Lin Gongzi. The Golden Crow Patriarch was in a very good mood. He had obtained a divine fruit and subdued Lin Xian. He felt that nothing could stop his footsteps. Amidst the cheers around him, the Golden Crow Patriarch swallowed the illusion fruit. In the next moment, endless rays of light appeared on his body. It was dreamy. It was as if he was about to ascend and become an immortal. What a magical scene. What fruit is this? Why have I never seen it before? Heavens, where did Lin Woody get it? It was probably a treasure that he had kept for many years. Exclamations could be heard one after another. The people of the Golden Crow clan were even more excited. Would their patriarch break through to become a great emperor in one fell swoop? The people of the other great emperor families frowned. What was Lin Woody doing? Was he really willing to lower his head? They didn't know. Even the Toad and the Crimson Dragon were puzzled. What was Lin Xian up to? Lin Xian, on the other hand, was very calm. He smiled and waited patiently. Another terrifying thing about the illusion fruit was that it wouldn't be poisoned at first. It would take some time. In this way, even a boundary emperor wouldn't be on guard. By the time they discovered it, it would be too late. Good, it was indeed a divine fruit. The Golden Crow Patriarch looked up to the sky and laughed. He also felt a mysterious force circulating in his meridians. When he saw the scene of the great Tao surrounding him, he really thought that he was going to become an immortal. Lin Xian, where did you get this divine fruit? Tell me the news, and I will send people to look for it again. Lin Xian said, Don't worry, Golden Crow Patriarch. After the banquet, I will tell you the details. Good, good, good. Little guy, you are very sensible. Then your grudge with the Golden Crow clan will be written off. The Golden Crow Patriarch waved his hand, causing an uproar. The people of the Golden Crow clan also heaved a sigh of relief. Although they spared Lin Woody, he had already submitted. He would be their subordinate in the future. Thinking of this, they were very happy. The Patriarch was wise. The Patriarch was mighty. They saw infinite hope. Suddenly, the Golden Crow Patriarch's pupils constricted, and he spat out a mouthful of old blood. It was actually black blood. In an instant, it pierced through heaven and earth, turning into countless black holes. Heavens! What happened? The people of the Golden Crow clan were stunned. The people of the remote antiquity families were also dumbfounded. Even the people of the Emperor clan suddenly raised their heads. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. It had begun. He looked surprised. Golden Crow Patriarch, what's wrong with you? Did extreme joy beget sorrow? The Golden Crow Patriarch's face instantly darkened. Damn it, what was going on? Why did he suddenly feel as if he had been punched hard? His internal organs were about to shatter. The pain almost made him faint. No, he was poisoned. As a boundary emperor, he immediately reacted. He was poisoned. Could it be the spiritual fruit just now? In the next moment, she suddenly turned her head and stared at Lin Xian. The void around Lin Xian kept shattering. The people around Lin Xian were shocked and retreated. Even the Crimson Dragon was stunned. What was going on? Was this old thing going to attack them? Damn it, how dare you plot against me? Your divine fruit is poisonous. What, poisonous? Countless people were in an uproar. The people of the Emperor clan were shocked. Damn it, I knew it. How could Lin Woody bow his head? It turned out that he was waiting for the Golden Crow Patriarch here. Only Lin Woody would dare to use poison to plot against Quasi-Emperor Yuzun. If this angered a boundary emperor, the consequences would be unimaginable. Was it poison? Ha ha ha, I knew the show was about to begin. The toad laughed, and so did the crimson dragon. No wonder he was so confident before leaving. It turned out that he had already thought about it. They could watch a good show next. The people of the Golden Crow clan said. What? Their patriarch was poisoned. Damn it, take Linwoody down. With an angry shout, countless experts of the Golden Crow clan rose into the air from all directions. They stared at Lin Xian with murderous intent. Chapter 55-85. The sky was blotted out, and the earth was covered. Experts flew over with murderous intent. The people from the other families retreated far away. They couldn't defeat a quasi-emperor. Lin Xian was still sitting there. When he saw this scene, he laughed. The Golden Crow tribe is really shameless. I came to give you the divine fruit out of goodwill, but you repaid my kindness with ingratitude. What a bunch of nonsense. You are the one who plotted against our patriarch. The Golden Crow tribe leader was so angry that he was trembling. Lin Xian was shocked. Plotting against? No way. He was really wronged. He turned to look at the Golden Crow patriarch and was shocked. Senior, what's wrong with you? Why are you vomiting blood? Isn't it just a divine fruit? Don't be too agitated. There might be more in the future. Agitated my ass. The Golden Crow patriarch's face turned green. Despicable brat, do you think this little poison can hurt me? When I suppress this poison, it will be your time of death. I dare to guarantee that not only you, but the entire divine union will be razed to the ground. I am really wronged. Lin Xian sighed. I forgot to tell you that this fruit is indeed a divine fruit. It's just that the strong will be fine after eating it, but the weak will vomit blood after eating it. I originally thought that the Golden Crow patriarch was an unparalleled expert. Now, it seems that you are useless. The Golden Crow patriarch trembled with anger and spat out another mouthful of blood. He almost fell to the ground. Patriarch. The Golden Crow tribe experts hurried forward to support him. They were extremely nervous. Patriarch, how are you? Patriarch, nothing must happen to you. Get lost. What are you waiting for? Suppress this brat for me. The Golden Crow patriarch roared crazily. Those powerhouses of the Golden Crow clan covered the sky and covered the earth as they charged over. They suppressed Linwoody. The array flickered. Terrifying flames and rays of light fell from the sky and turned into countless heavenly tablets. Was the battle about to start? The Crimson Dragon experts took a deep breath. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. Let's see who dares to make a move. Don't you want the Golden Crow patriarch's life? The moment these words came out, the powerhouses of the Golden Crow clan were all stunned. The Golden Crow old ancestor said, Don't listen to him. I can suppress the poison. Is that so? Lin Xian looked ahead and sneered. Pour it for me. After saying that, the Golden Crow patriarch's body swayed and fell to the ground. No, patriarch. The powerhouses of the Golden Crow tribe no longer dared to attack. Instead, they flew back frantically. They were scared out of their wits. The Golden Crow old ancestor was a quasi-emperor. For a quasi-emperor to fall from a chair, how terrifying and dangerous was this situation? The people from the other emperor clans were also shocked. Could it be that the quasi-emperor was really poisoned? They sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of fruit did Linwoody take out? It could actually poison a quasi-emperor. Damn it, where did this guy get this thing? Some people felt their blood run cold. Previously, some families and sects wanted to see Linwoody make a fool of himself. But now, it seemed that they were the ones who were laughing. Old ancestor, are you all right? The people of the Golden Crow race have all gone crazy. This time, the Golden Crow patriarch was almost speechless. He was extremely shocked. How was this possible? He was a quasi-emperor who could sweep through everything. His strength was outstanding, but now he couldn't suppress this poison. Damn kid. He knew that he was careless. From the beginning to the end, he had underestimated this Lin Wuti. Originally, he thought that the other party was just a Triple Crown champion, an ant. It would be easy for him to kill the other party. He didn't even care about the spirit fruit that the other party took out. At that time, he only glanced at it. But with his quasi-emperor cultivation, nothing could hide from him. But he was still poisoned. This meant that the other party's methods were beyond his imagination. Lin Xian didn't hide anymore. He walked out and said, "How is it? It doesn't feel good, right? But this is your own fault. If you want to recover, then so be it. If you are a quasi-emperor, I won't make things difficult for you. But after you came to find trouble with me. Why, do you really think that you can crush me just because you are a quasi-emperor? It's too ridiculous. Why don't you ask around? Have I, Lin Wuti, ever been defeated in battle in my life? As a quasi-emperor, you don't stand a chance." Lin Xian's face also darkened. Indeed, he really didn't plan to deal with the Golden Crow quasi-emperor. But since the other party attacked first, he could only accompany him to the end. Damn it. The Golden Crow ancestor tried to suppress the poison, but realized that it was impossible. He could only say, "Young master, you misunderstood. I was just joking with you." "Young master, why don't you help me detoxify the poison? I will definitely reward you greatly. I heard that you cultivate the 9-yang divine body, and I cultivate the fire of the sun. We can exchange pointers. I can even tell you my experience of becoming a quasi-emperor." The moment these words came out, many people's eyes turned red. Even the people from the Arch family were shocked. A quasi-emperor's experience was incomparably precious. It surpassed all Dharma treasures. However, Lin Xian smiled and said, "I don't need your experience, because you are too trashy. You can't even defeat a small sacred lord like me. What use do I have for your experience? What I want is the strength to be able to dominate the ancient times, not a piece of trash like you." You buffed. The Golden Crow ancestor vomited another mouthful of blood. He was about to faint from anger. "I'm a piece of trash? Damn it! Who dares to say that I'm a piece of trash?" He was a dignified ancient mutated beast. When he dominated the world back then, no one could defeat him. It was just that the timing was not right back then, so he chose to sleep. Finally, he woke up at the right time. This time, he must become a Arch. However, he was plotted against by a young man as soon as he woke up. He even lowered his head to beg for mercy, but the other party still mocked and ridiculed him. How many years had he lived? He had never been slapped in the face like this. "Kid, you better detoxify my poison. Let me tell you, the strength of a quasi-emperor is not something you can imagine. I'm injured now, but I won't die. Once I recover, you know what will happen. That's not something you can bear, so take out the antidote." Lin Xian laughed as well. "You think too highly of yourself. Let's not talk about whether or not you can recover. Even if you can recover, so what? I'm not far from the quasi-emperor realm now. Give me a little more time, and I will be able to surpass the quasi-emperor realm. Even if you recover, so what?" Lin Xian's eyes flickered with incomparable confidence. Indeed, with the divine fire seed, he was now able to contend with a quasi-emperor. If he broke through again, killing a quasi-emperor would not be difficult. At this point, Lin Xian took a step forward. Demonic chi surged from his body as if he had turned into a demon god. "The Golden Crow tribe has repeatedly gone against me. Now that a quasi-emperor has awakened, I'll personally deal with you today." Lin Xian's killing intent swept through the world. Those people from the Golden Crow tribe have gone crazy. Is Lin Wuti going to make a move? Damn it, how dare you? Angry roars rang out. The array formations covered the sky and covered the earth. In the end, the great demonic sky seal shattered everything. Lin Xian walked forward like an invincible war god. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.